and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
and Lee.
Enjoying that cuppa?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I've just completely dried up and forgotten what I was talking about.
Formula One.
Yeah.
That's a bit personal, isn't it, Paul?
Well, my throat's dried up. I've got some kind of amphibian in it.
I hear it happens to people at your age.
You leave my age out. What's my age?
Again.
That's a song.
Again?
Yeah.
Again. No, there's a couple of things that happen when you get to my age. Your memory starts going, and then your memory starts going.
And you wouldn't like that Blink 182.
Oh, no, that modern pop music, those beat combos. Chinese Grand Prix this week. We'll talk about that instead.
It is. We've got some news. Are we going to do news first?
I think we should probably do something resembling the news. I'm just still trying to work out the video software. What have you done?
Just punched the table.
What had it ever done to you?
It just looked like Pascal Wehrlein for a split second.
Well,
No,
there you go.
No, it didn't. The table came out of the pit behind Vettel, didn't it? you just got on Toto.
Sorry, it can't be Pascal Wehrlein because it's clearly doing its job.
Ooh, that was harsh. But yeah, Pascal Wehrlein is out for China and maybe out for Bahrain as well.
Causing all sorts of conspiracy theories on the other side of the table.
Lee, looking at you.
Well, I thought you were going to say causing all sorts of conspiracy theories on the other side of the world because they're in China. But yeah, the other side of the table is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, he is still saying that he's not fit enough after his Race of Champions total shunt. Mm-hmm. I thought there was something going on when Ferrari announced that they'd released Giovinazzi to drive for Sauber.
Yeah.
Just in case they needed him. That was a just in case. We've released Giovinazzi to Sauber just in case they need him. It was like, well, why would they need him? Surely Wehrlein's going to be fine. And it turns out he's not.
And is this... Do we think this is all down to the injury or the lack of fitness, or is there more to it? Let's wade in with the conspiracy theories.
I think
Lee, you start.
I think Sauber have a better driver than they thought they were going to have in Giovinazzi. I think they took Pascal Wehrlein on as a favour to Mercedes, essentially, because he had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Ferrari clearly want Giovinazzi to be in a racing car more because Kimi Raikkonen's going to have to do an awful lot to hold on to his Ferrari seat, I think, this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Giovinazzi can has some more races under his belt and keeps doing what he's doing.
He's next in line.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a Ferrari because that's what Ferrari have been saying.
But when's the last time that Ferrari have taken someone from...
Yeah.
taken a one-year rookie?
But they've already turned... the Ferrari now under... what's his name?
Arriva Bene.
No. Is it? No.
Marchioni
is a very different Ferrari than what we've had for a few years, I think. And they've also said they want to become more Italian.
Yeah.
So
Antonio Giovinazzi being the first.
Fits the bill, doesn't it?
First
first
Italian to drive from Luca Badoa.
Yeah. And
Fizzy, because he replaced Badoa, didn't he?
was it Fisichella replaced Badoa?
Yes. Because
they got him.
Badoa did that one race when
He was awful.
and Fisichella came second in Belgium.
We've got lots of new listeners now, so I can tell us the story again. But I saw what's his name?
Luca Badoa.
Badoa again. I saw him at Spa when he was filling in, and
He was terrible.
Yeah, but with the corner I was on was sort of blind until they came round the corner, and he literally came like it was great because he was on the racing line and everything, but backwards.
Luca Badoa came round the corner backwards.
Yeah.
That's not the way you want to be coming around the corner.
No, not at all. Especially not while Kimi Räikkönen is busy winning the race.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. When it comes to a Ferrari seat, there was caused lots of speculation that they could have put Jules Bianchi in the car Had he,
That would be a bad move now.
would be a bad move now. Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, to announce a man who can't drive as your second driver.
Yeah, his career is probably over.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, because when they announced Luca Badoa as the second driver, that was a man who couldn't drive.
Well, yes, but I'm trying to be a little bit more sensitive about this. But Giovinazzi, an Italian driver, and I don't think Ferrari have had an Italian driver on the podium since Larini in '94.
Is it that long ago?
I think because the last time there was an Italian Ferrari driver was on the podium.
My God.
So if Ferrari have got a car that's great at going forward, and from the looks of Australia, it is it's going to be quite a powerful unit.
Yeah.
This year, then they'll want to carry that on into 2018, and if they can put an Italian driver in that car, then all of Italy will fall in love with Ferrari all over again.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what Marchione's aim is.
Yeah, I think so. They've also, with them having Vettel there as well, who's happy Vettel because the car's now good, they've got a strong number one driver that they can install a young driver, into the team, and number two the fuck out of him,
quite possibly,
and then develop him that way.
Yeah. Now the question is though, where is this going to leave Ferrari for the young drivers test, which comes after the Bahrain Grand Prix?
Yes, because there's a loophole, isn't there, in the rule? Well, not a loophole or such, but there's a rule that states that you can't use a driver who's done more than 2 Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's right. And if things go as it's looking like it's going to go, Giovinazzi is going to be on his 3rd Grand Prix in Bahrain. So that will leave Ferrari with either Charles Leclerc, who they co-own with Haas, or Santino Ferrucci.
Who they also co-own with Haas, do they not?
I think they do, yes. Although Santino Ferrucci looks more like Neil Goldman.
But the idea of the test is to get your young driver into a car if you can't get them into a race car. So the fact that he's in a race car, it
means he doesn't need to do the test.
It solves its own problem.
That's why that rule's in place. But also at the same time, it's been used where that rule is also in place because McLaren used Jenson Button a few years ago. Did they not, for a young driver test?
And Gary Paffett,
who was the same age, if not older, than Jenson Button. So
he hasn't driven a Grand Prix.
But he
did the safety car once or twice, didn't he?
I think so.
I don't think it counts.
But that's why the rule's in place. Charles Leclerc would be an obvious choice for Ferrari if Giovinazzi does more than the stated allowance. But then you've also got Santino Ferrucci, and I think that's about it. I think there's another Haas driver, isn't there? That's a possibility.
I guess a lot of it will depend on who's there and available, because both Leclerc and Ferrucci are Formula 2 drivers.
Yeah,
and Bahrain is the first race of the Formula 2 season, if I'm correct.
Both a Charles Leclerc and a Ferrucci sound delicious.
They do.
Yeah, you'd have them on a plate with a Stoffel, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think a Charles Leclerc would clearly be some sort of pastry-based, cream-filled treat.
Charles Leclerc. It sounds like an eclair.
Yeah,
that's why. Yeah.
You remember hello? It is I, Leclerc.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the Charles would be. Maybe white chocolate.
White chocolate eclair.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc.
That works. That works.
And,
a Santino Ferrucci, or just a Ferrucci?
That's clearly some sort of
meat-based thing.
I see.
Oh no, Ambassador! With these Ferruccis, you are truly spoiling us.
See, I was thinking some sort of frozen, like
ice cream thing.
Well, not ice cream.
Frozen yogurt.
Gelato.
No. Bit
Sorbet?
closer. Yes, more of a sorbet.
A Ferrucci.
A Ferrucci. Yeah. It's some kind of citrus sorbet.
I'll have a lemon Ferrucci, please.
Ferrucci and limoncello after your dinner.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Oh, come for the news, stay for the analysis.
Exactly.
I thought that was going to be come for the news, stay for dessert.
We're nothing if not insightful.
So we're nothing.
Tell you what, that's much better. Our Patreons are going to think that you're just not trying on the Patreon podcast.
I stand by every single one of my one-liners, even the ones that run into a second line because I have to explain them.
It's just got to get the revs up.
So but is it okay? Going back to the story, is it a case of Princess Pascal getting his sort of like, well, I'm not on the pace because I might be a bit injured, or is it a case of Sauber almost sort of say, well, we'd like to give Giovinazzi another seat? I think, Dan, you came up with something quite...
Yeah, it is really unusual to see drivers saying they don't want to drive when they're cleared to. But what I was thinking was, if he has got a bit of a lingering injury, then driving now could make that linger longer into the season.
You really had to think about being careful about saying that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. And we were seeing in Australia, his lap times were pretty down on Ericsson's.
About 2 seconds, was it, in FP1?
In FP1, yeah. FP1 and FP2 he did, didn't he?
Yeah, did Friday but not Saturday.
But he was pretty slow compared to Ericsson. And that's going to do him no favours in a race.
Here's the other one then. What if he is fit and he's just making excuses for himself because he doesn't know, he knows, he can see he's not on the pace with his teammate?
Well, that excuse is only going to last so long, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to call it for about another race.
Well, at the moment, everyone's thinking that he's not going to do Bahrain.
Yeah.
So that's China and Bahrain he'll be out for, and then back by Russia is what the chatter on Twitter is.
Well, that's come from the team that he hopes. They're not sure about Bahrain, but he hopes to be firmly back by Russia.
So what I think he's doing is getting to 100% fitness to where he should be before he gets in the car, before he hits a racetrack.
Maybe. I don't think...
So that he's at least a level playing field.
Yeah.
Because he has to look at prospective buyers as such, but prospective team owners who might want to take him on next year.
Yeah, and I think if everything that's being said is above board and on the level, then what he's doing is good for the team. If he's a couple of seconds down because of injury, and they're able to put Giovinazzi in, who might be slower than Verline is normally, but a bit faster at the moment, then that's good for the team.
Everything you're saying makes sense.
Good for rehabilitating his image and going against the Princess Pascal by saying, "Yeah, I'm not 100%. Give the other guy a chance.
He's faster than me at the moment
right now.
But wait till I'm fit, then I'll show my mettle."
Everything you say makes sense. I just don't think it's right.
You know, Lee, I feel the same way about you quite often.
I'm sure. I don't mind.
Apart from the making sense bit.
The funny thing was, our last podcast, I think we might have given Pascal a bit of a bashing.
One of our listeners did mention on Facebook that he wasn't too impressed.
I think he actually used the word pathetic.
Yeah, but I was really interesting because I did.
It was funny.
We have quite a lot of listeners, and I wonder whether Pascal's fan listened to us.
Do you know what though? It was fun. Do you know, that's all it was. Please don't take it too seriously. No. We don't take ourselves seriously. We're having a laugh. Pascal Wehrlein
to take us seriously is pathetic.
Ooh.
Oh, meta reference.
But yeah, we have a laugh at everything. You know, if things go one driver's way, we praise him, and if something, you know, one driver complains. You know, Seb Vettel last year with the blue flags. We made it. Our last year's joke.
We got a season out of
that. We got a season out of him asking for blue flags. What, like 3 times?
Yeah.
Right up to the point where we discovered the Rosbergian national anthem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
we're not being funny, but we've took McLaren down so far this year as well.
We don't need to try too hard with that because they're doing a damn good enough job themselves.
We are equal opportunity griefers.
Oh, we will rip any team apart. Yeah. We are any team or driver.
Like sneezing the
thing
wrong
is
place.
With us as well. Wehrlein has the right to reply by coming back in the car and putting in some decent performances. If he doesn't, we'll continue.
Or by coming on the show.
Or by coming on the show, of course. Yeah. But
100th show next week. Any guests want to appear?
Yes, we will get onto that in a bit.
Yeah. Just pop over to the Isle of Man.
Yeah. You're not doing anything this weekend, so why not?
quick police check, and then I'll tell you where I live.
But yeah, Pascal Wehrlein has the right to reply to us by getting in that car, putting in some decent performances. If he doesn't, we'll continue to rip it out of him. And that's how it works.
To be honest, I think that's fair. That is fair enough.
Can I change that to putting in as good as a performance as is possible in a Sauber?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're expecting the Saubers and McLarens to be very lackluster, especially the beginning part of the season.
Putting in a good performance is coming 13th.
I, however,
Yes.
even if he wins the race, probably won't stop beating him up because I got a rise out of somebody.
Don't feed the troll. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Don't feed the troll.
This is 3 Legs 4 Wheels, brought to you by Troll Food.
Yeah. Nom, 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 nom.
Early 2000s internet reference there.
What have we got next on the running order? Which, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, there's the book.
Yes.
And if
hello,
anyone is
YouTube.
watching this on YouTube, how the hell did you get the private URL? Because we're not putting this on online until Friday.
Exactly.
That's
Maybe
dedication
they're watching
for
on
you.
Friday.
Oh yeah, they might be doing that.
They might be watching this instead of listening to the podcast.
Oh,
Normally.
hang on, because sometimes we refer to the Patreon podcast that people haven't listened to. That makes me feel like people are breaking time. Now, if they're watching this when we're on the Friday, they're breaking time.
No, they're not. They're watching something. You weren't breaking time.
But if I watch it, will that be like a paradox?
No,
No?
it's fine.
Okay.
Well, it depends what app you watch it on.
What if I watch it on my phone going 88 miles an hour in the car? My cat just barked.
Yes, I heard that too. I wonder if the microphones picked that up because that was.
For one, does your van actually do 88 miles an hour?
My van almost certainly does 88 miles an hour.
Lee knows this.
Just want to point out we don't have speed limits on some roads on the Isle of Man.
Correct.
Drive responsibly.
Castletown to Douglas in 10 minutes today. I
Yeah.
was in a rush.
And why were you in a rush?
WrestleMania.
Oh God! I remember that. That was on the original wrestling album. That was
Yeah.
about 1988.
I know. I bought it.
Oh dear.
We've gone back to wrestling. I thought we'd covered this already today.
I thought we had as well. What's next on the list?
What is next on the list is F1 engine meeting in Paris.
There was apparently. Well, it was an engine suppliers meeting, but it wasn't just for the current engine suppliers. Although they were all represented, it was also to invite other manufacturers in as well. And Cosworth, who of course have a long history in Formula One, were there in attendance, as were
second most successful engine supplier behind Ferrari.
as were VW Audi, under the guise of perhaps Lamborghini by sending former Ferrari boss Stefano Domenicali there, or perhaps not.
Or were they just there to troll Ferrari?
They may have been there to troll Ferrari,
Which is pretty much Lamborghini's reason for being, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Okay, if we're talking about all Italian cars, they're either owned by Audi, VW, or Ferrari, Fiat Group.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah. You've got a horse, we've got a bull.
Exactly.
What can trample you the most?
I think I'd pretty much take a Lambo over a Ferrari most occasions.
Yeah, Lamborghinis tend to be crazier than Ferraris.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Stefano Domenicali was Steve Sunday was at the engine meeting, and it's just basically to decide which direction the power unit should go in.
Forwards.
Yeah, forwards.
Are you listening, McLaren?
Exactly.
I was just going to say,
yeah.
Honda were writing stuff down at this point in the meeting.
Good God, we're supposed to... How much? I didn't know about this bit of the power unit.
V6!
Badge up, you say?
Yeah. So we...
Maybe if the Honda can actually get up to 88 miles an hour, they will go back in time to when they won things.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe that's what Alonso was trying to do.
Find some plutonium.
No, he didn't. Carry on. Doesn't matter.
We don't know anything that happened in this meeting really. Although Toto Wolff has said that it was just basically to outline since the last change in 2014, what do the engine manufacturers think they've got right with going to 1.6 litre V6s, and what have they got wrong, and should they change it after 2020s, because these engines are in until the end of 2020.
Now, if Toto's said that, then Niki Lauda must have come out and said, that was not what we discussed at all.
Niki Lauda has come out and said this is not what we discussed at all.
See, I like the idea.
Don't know why he's almost Nelson Mandela. Sorry.
You say, let's talk about what we've got bad about with the modern era of engine. This is once again where Honda stands up and says, let us take this.
Yeah. We've got this. Don't build your engines halfway around the world from where everyone else does it, because we don't understand what's going on in the world of Formula One because we're so far away from it. Or that's what McLaren would have you believe anyway.
Well, I mean, the only thing that has come out, this got released on Saturday, so some fact-checking was needed with it being April Fool's Day.
Yes.
And it came out before 12.
Fact-checking? What's that?
Fact-checking.
Yeah, what's that? Explain this concept.
What you do is you go onto theonion.com, and if it appears there, then chances are it's not news.
Right.
Or Fox.
Or Sean Spicer.
But basically, it's no more turbos from 2021. Noisier, cheaper alternatives will be the thing.
So does that mean no hybrid?
Well,
don't know.
No, because it could be hybrid, naturally aspirated engines.
Mm-hmm.
They could be going back to V8s, but V8 hybrids.
Yeah.
Still with the electrical regeneration.
They might go to either straight inline 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder turbo engines.
I wouldn't be surprised if they would go back to KERS, as in like a KERS button.
That's been talked about as well. If the the protocol is that they have to move forward in line with how road cars are developed as well. With that splits opinion amongst us here, as well as a lot of other Formula One fans. But if the engine manufacturers have decided that that's how the sport should be, running in conjunction with the development of road cars, then they could go to 4-cylinder inline to naturally aspirated hybrid engines.
I don't know what to think about it, because although I've fought the corner all along for the whole of like Formula One needs to be like on the cutting edge of technology, and I don't even care so much about how the sport looks in the environmental sense, of like trying to make a thing, but they do. If there's technology out there that we've now got Formula One cars that are going to be faster than they've ever been before.
Yeah,
using this technology. But on the other side of it, if it's my analogies being, which I've used on the show a couple of times, nobody plays football or watches a football match, and football isn't there to sell football boots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a sport, and it has to be competitive to be a show. I personally don't believe for a split second any manufacturer gets in Formula One to anymore. I'm sure they did years ago, but now no manufacturer gets into Formula One to benchmark new technology.
No, they're getting it to sell cars.
Yes, and in that case, there's very few people that are going to buy a car because they're really turned on by what hybrid technology the Formula One cars are using.
No, I think it's more to do with the fact that they can say, using technology from Formula One cars, we've developed the new...
Yeah, but they can say that anyway because that's advertising.
Yeah.
But whenever I read stuff like this, you always get the sense that when Formula One opens a door, it shuts two windows. It's...
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's not necessarily it's not necessarily the way forward that it's going.
I think it will. By the
John Tott has pretty much said no return to the old V8s.
Yeah,
it will be if it is V8, it will be some sort of possibly even smaller than 1.6. Who knows? V8s with.
I don't understand why they feel the need to specify how the engine should be built. Why not just say this is how much fuel you're allowed to use.
Yeah.
Build an engine that goes as fast as and
Yeah.
don't build it any bigger than this, or
This is the size it's got to fit in.
yeah.
Well, if
They're
you're
trying
saying,
to bring
if
the
you're
grid
saying,
together. That's what they're trying to
yeah,
do.
if you're saying we want to be efficient, so we're driving engine efficiency, we're doing something good for the planet. Say, okay, you've
It's
got
a society thing as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
60 kilograms of this fuel.
Yeah.
Build an engine that's going to go as fast as it can, using that much fuel, get you to the end of the race.
Yeah.
If you want to make it a 6-litre engine, and that'll work for you, do it. If you want a V10, if you want a V12, if you want a V4, do it. If you want a naturally aspirated, if you want a turbo, do it.
Yeah. I think what you're going to find is...
I'm with Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that'd be fine. You know, it's a good idea. But I think what they're going to try and get to is the point where the engines are so heavily regulated that companies are building their own Formula One engines, but they're essentially building the same engine and
Yeah.
putting a different sticker on it.
I'd like to.
I don't mind that, if I'm perfectly honest,
Yeah.
because I think that will definitely bring the grid closer together. And then all you need to do from there is regulate aero, and all of a sudden you've closed the whole pack up on each other.
I'd like to draw attention to the main part of that quote that Paul said before: cheaper.
That's a big thing.
That's a very big thing. Cheaper alternatives, because does that mean we're going to see a lot more entries or a lot more applications for entries if the sport becomes cheaper? And if the sport becomes cheaper, does that alleviate the need for a budget cap on the bigger teams? Because that has been talked about a lot as well. Having a, or if the things stay the same, there's going to have to be a budget cap because the bigger teams are spending too much money, and the smaller teams, Sauber, Force India, can't catch up. Of course they can.
Well, there is. There is provision under the current Concord Agreement, which runs to 2020.
The end of
which is
2020.
The end of
I see.
2020.
I
which
thought
is
it was the
with these-
beginning of 2020, but it's
No,
not.
it's the end of 2020, which is
yeah.
when these new engine regs will start. There is provision in there for up to 13 teams on the grid,
Which is 26 cars.
which will be 26 cars. Now, if they carry that over into the next one, we could easily see 3 new teams coming in 2021. If the engines are cheaper, then it's not going to be as heavy a cost on the teams that are entering.
Yeah.
And if we do get the new teams, hopefully we won't be in the same situation where we're effectively having 2 championships.
The thing is, as well as making them less complicated, because the we take the piss out of Honda for what's going on, and quite rightly so, to be perfectly honest, because Honda, in one respect, with the might of that company and the resources that company has, should be able to build a Formula One engine, and they can't. But on the other hand, the might of Honda, with the resources they have, can't build a Formula One engine. So, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Was it Yamaha or Honda, who, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, who had a spy in one of the European motorcycling teams who pulled over at the side of a race and had the blueprints for his bike in his leathers, and jumped out, got into a secret Japanese, I don't know if it was Yamaha or Honda, got into one of their cars and flew to Japan. And then all of a sudden, that's when Japanese racing bikes started winning everything.
that's mental.
Yeah, that's when Japan started taking over the world with motorcycle racing. So it's to me, it's almost inconceivable that Honda, as an engine, even as an engine builder, can't build something that's reliable and fast to keep up pace with Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari.
Yeah.
Purely because in the old late 80s era, the turbo era of Formula 1, no one could touch Honda. So Honda knew how to build a turbo engine in a V configuration for that time. It's just with this hybrid power unit, they're really struggling. Now I know they're millions of miles apart, the engines that were...
I think that's the
Yeah,
issue,
the engines from the late 80s and the engines that the power units that you use now. But
And the reliability that's needed from them.
Yeah.
exactly, the reliability is needed from them as well.
Well, yeah, because back in those days, it was for maybe 5 engines a weekend.
Yeah, but
it was one engine a session.
I think the other thing you got to remember is as well, back in those days when a car wasn't on the track racing, it was on a track testing.
Yeah.
No.
You know, 'cause I mean, you get teams back then, and they would easily go through. It was a 16 race season, but you'd get teams going into 3 figures of engines.
Yeah.
Over the course of a season with all the testing.
Now that's only McLaren that do that.
No, they use 3 figures of engines during pre-season testing. They still haven't said how many engines they went through. One thing that I did find interesting and slightly terrifying, with an interview in Autosport that I read with Mr. Hasegawa from Honda, was that everything worked perfectly on the dyno when they had a 1-cylinder configuration. It was when they put the other 5 in, everything went wrong.
What? They had a 1-cylinder configuration?
They originally mocked up this year's engine
with a
with 1 cylinder. Just as proof of concept.
A V1.
A V1.
That doesn't work.
Well, yeah, it can't be a V1.
No.
It'd be a backslash one.
one.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Oh no, you know how technology's branded now? It would be an I1.
No, Apple have got that. But yeah,
Apple McLaren rumours confirmed.
Yeah, to go along with the engine, next year's McLaren will be made completely of glass.
Illuminati confirmed.
But yeah, in this interview, he said that everything was working great on the dyno with 1 cylinder. So they made like a sixth of an engine, and then they built the whole thing, and they couldn't work out why it didn't work. That just sounds incredibly worrying.
It does sound very backward, doesn't it?
I'd advise anyone to have a look at that. It's on Autosport. It came out over the weekend, and you don't have to subscribe to get that one. That's that's in the 23 articles a month allowance.
Yeah,
we're in a new month anyway. But it was very illuminating, and I think Hasegawa-san is possibly a little worried for his job. Just in the same way that his predecessor, Mr. Arai, was towards this time last year.
Well, yeah, it was. Mr. Arai stopped talking, didn't he, to all of the was it all of the press?
He'd only do interviews in Japanese,
and it was only with Japanese print media as well.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even speak to Japanese TV. It was just interviews with Japanese newspapers and magazines only.
And that's a huge shame for him as the head of Honda. We don't want Hasegawa to go the same way, really. I don't understand why they would run the engine only on 1 cylinder. That doesn't make any sense to me at all whatsoever.
From the point of view of just the balance and the vibrations, you'd think 2
Exactly.
would be the minimum.
considering that it's the vibrations that seem to be the problem. You might be onto something there, Dan.
So not only do we fix Formula 1 on this podcast, Dan's fixed Honda.
Yeah. Run all of your cylinders together at the same time on the dyno and see how well that actually works for you.
On the other hand, just to play devil's advocate here,
That's not like you.
I think if we did know why they did it, we probably wouldn't be sat here recording a podcast in my spare room.
We'd be selling engines to Formula 1 teams.
We would.
Just like Honda are apparently about to do to Sauber.
Possibly.
Ooh, smooth.
I'm getting good at these, aren't I?
This has been denied multiple times by everyone involved.
No. What's been denied is that there's going to be a mid-season engine change.
Yeah.
Right.
What has been suggested is that as early as Easter, Sauber could be announcing a Honda engine supply.
Yeah.
For next year.
Next year would be the logical assumption.
See, especially seeing as Sauber have just borrowed a driver from Ferrari, and I just wonder if the Sauber engine upgrades that are coming will suddenly start to say 2017 on them, with Giovinazzi in the team.
Are they allowed to do that?
I don't even know if it'd be possible.
Well, you can upgrade the engine during the season, and if they come out with all these upgrades that all of a sudden they just replace an entire powertrain and it looks exactly like this year's Ferrari,
Yeah.
there's nothing to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, that's if they can bolt that to the car.
It's from Honda's point of view as well. It's a double it's a double win for them if they do manage to supply Sauber, because then they're having double the amount of feedback. It's not just McLaren who are saying, you've done that wrong, you've done this wrong. Sauber might say, that actually works really well on our car. Yeah. And then Honda could turn around and go, well, Sauber are saying there's nothing wrong with that. So that's your design.
And also, Sauber finished the race 5 places ahead of you, McLaren.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this confirms to me that McLaren are going to have Mercedes engines next year.
I was just about to say,
because there is that allocation still free from Manor.
Yeah. You say having the double feedback from Sauber and McLaren. I think because McLaren have got the option to walk at the end of the season, as keeps getting reported.
Yeah,
and
so did Honda.
True, but I could see it happening.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to rewind.
I'm glad I switched video feeds then, just so that nobody got to see me sneezing.
Excellent. I'm just going to rewind a little bit. Remember me telling you the story just before about?
Can you rewind before you talk?
That's
better. You've gone too far.
I have. I need to go fast forward now.
Hi, and welcome to this week's 3 Legs Fly.
Remember I was telling you about the motorcycle racer who stole the blueprints. His name is a German racer, motorcycle racer, who actually raced on the Isle of Man, and his name was Ernst Degner, hence the Degner curves at Suzuka.
Oh, that actual Degner.
Yes. And what he actually did was, after the Berlin Wall was built, he was riding for a German motorcycle manufacturer, MZ or MZ, and he decided to stuff the blueprints in his racing leathers at the Swedish Grand Prix, and stopped halfway round, got into a Suzuki. It was Suzuki, not Yamaha or Honda. Got into a Suzuki car and took him to the airport, and he flew to Japan, and then he raced for Suzuki after that, and that's when the Japanese motorcycle manufacturers started winning everything.
You know sometimes when you bump into like an ex-work colleague that you don't get on with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you there? Did you not use? What happened in that race in Sweden?
You absolute bastard!
You total shot.
If you'd have saved that insult for about 20 minutes' time, that would have been a brilliant other smooth segue. Unfortunately, there might be other things to talk about.
There's too many things to talk about before we even get close to total shunt.
Oh hell yes! One thing that we should talk about, and it's kind of podcast related.
Good.
Well, related to us and what we're going to be doing next week.
Right.
Because we're experimenting tonight.
Yes, we are.
With. Dan, can you at least let me switch? Right, okay, that one's worked. Now that's working. Right, we are going to be live streaming podcasts on YouTube.
Yes,
we are doing an experiment tonight. We've got somebody watching. And he says the feed is actually working,
which is good.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Is that the guy you said was a bell end?
No, that was Lee.
No, it doesn't matter. You said something about bald. I'm not sure. Carry on.
Why have our viewers just gone down from 2 to 1? And one of them's me. Because I'm monitoring the feed at this end. So we're going to be streaming live on YouTube, and the video of the podcast will be available on Fridays, we've decided.
Because we will be celebrating our 100th
anniversary.
Yeah.
No.
100th Sometimes podcast. It feels like it.
Podcast 100. It's a big milestone for us, really. Podcast 100. So for our 100th podcast,
bloody massive milestone. If you ever heard the first 2 shows that we never put out,
nobody ever heard them.
No, we didn't think there'd be a podcast number 1.
No. So,
look how we've grown.
I know. Mr. Chumley Warner over here.
That's because of all the biscuits that we eat during the show.
Yeah, it's not good.
So are we allowed to now tell the people what we might have planned for our 100th show, so that they definitely download next week's podcast?
Well, I don't think it's what we might have planned. It's what we have got planned.
Well, yeah, but there's something else I want to throw in there. But go on, tell them tell the lovely people watching and listening.
And watching and listening. Hang on, I've got to point at that camera because that's the one that's pointing at me.
You point at that one then.
Yes. Sean Kelly's joining us next week.
Hooray! Hey, we like Sean.
Virtual Statman is coming back. Mm-hmm. Just want to say thank you to him for saying he would appear. And what have you got for us, Chris?
I haven't got anything particularly special right now, but there was a listener that we spoke about. I think it was on last week's podcast. Sean Kasuski trying to get the Hoff.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to get David Hasselhoff on the show, which I had already messaged. I I'd already messaged David Hasselhoff without reply, or at least messaged his website and his people, and hadn't heard anything back. So I need everyone who's listening. Now, we know there are lots and lots of you listening. Anyone who uses Twitter, just jump on Twitter and hassle the Hoff with the hashtag HoffPod.
This following on from last year's unsuccessful Podium Hoff campaign, which at least Circuit of the Americas replied to.
Yes, Circuit of the Americas did reply to us when we tried to get the Hoff to do the podium interviews, but I don't think they're perhaps in charge of that. That was perhaps a little bit silly of us.
Yeah, but they were too busy dealing with Taylor Swift's people, and I'm sure Taylor Swift has a lot of people.
I'm sure she does. And that's just the ones that she dates.
Don't even think about it, Lee. I know that face.
We've got libel lawyers on standby.
No,
we would love.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift. We've all got to have sex with her one day.
When will it be my turn, Emily?
Right after he joins the Sugar Babes.
Because everybody's going to be in that band at some point.
I was on Twitter last week, and I looked at somebody's profile who just started following the podcast, and he describes himself as the only person in Britain that hasn't been in the Sugar Babes or the Fall.
Very good. That's an excellent Twitter bio. But we'd love it if, and I'm sure you'd love to hear him as well. David Hasselhoff. He is a big racing fan. He goes to a number of races. I think he's actually is he something to do with Red Bull? Has he got Red Bull sponsorship? Because he's always in Red Bull's garage.
Maybe.
I just think he likes the taste.
So it means he can be awake to do Hoff things.
Yeah.
Whatever Hoff things are.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever watched any of his real life TV shows, we still don't know what they are.
Speaking
he just does
of
lots
which,
of them.
let's get off this subject and onto some Formula One again.
Well, we're kind of talking about Formula One because it was the Formula One podcast we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the racing or the news or something.
Talk about the racing or the news or something. So, what else do we have in the news?
I don't know. You tell me. There's not been an awful lot this week, if we're honest.
No, but Alex Wurz has been putting his head above the barricades in his role as the Grand Prix Drivers Association chairman.
Well, you should probably do a bit more than that, really, if he's putting his head above the barricades. He probably needs to sit down and talk to the other drivers.
That's the problem. I don't think he has been doing, because all he's had to say is, and I'm just waiting for reactions on this, and I'm going to get some reaction shots. The current TV camera angles are wrong, and they're not showing off the cars to the best of their ability.
If that's the biggest criticism he can find with Formula One,
Yeah.
then he must think it's doing quite well.
This is like people that get really, really upset about like an actor getting like cast for the wrong role in a film. Like, if that's the biggest problem you have in the world,
Yeah. Ben Affleck is Batman. Pfft. The world is wrong. No, the world is fine. There are people who've got bigger problems than this.
Yeah, I've been a Doctor Who fan that's had the internet for quite a few years. I know what people do. Every 3 years it's like, oh god, I'm just logging off for the next 6 weeks.
yeah, every 3 years, nobody is happy unless it's Eddie Izzard finally.
Or Idris Elba.
Who?
Idris Elba. Everybody
I thought
wants
he was going to be James Bond.
James Bond, Doctor Who, Agatha
the black
Christie.
fella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie, did you
Agatha
say?
Christie's, Poirot, that's
Oh,
the one.
right. Yeah, I couldn't see him playing Agatha Christie.
No,
I
not
know
Agatha
he's a
Christie.
versatile actor, but bloody hell, a 70-year-old woman, that would be stretching it. We're into Dustin Hoffman territory here. But yeah, Alex Wurz has said F1 needs to rethink of its broadcast camera angles to really showcase the new generation of cars.
How does he propose that F1 does that? Because the only way I can think that it could perhaps utilise modern technology to show different camera angles would be drones. And
I
nobody wants
was
them.
waiting for you to say drones.
Yeah, but nobody wants drones near a Formula One circuit.
That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more a Formula E thing.
Yes.
But actually, no. To get better camera angles of Formula E, you could just have a man following with a stick.
I mean,
Yeah.
you say nobody wants drones near Formula One cars.
No.
We do have man-powered helicopters that could make an awful mess if something goes wrong.
Yeah, most of the time they circle around the outside of,
Yeah.
of the circuit.
Well,
and
why-
they're just
why-
great to zoom in with on
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to have drones over the cars.
Well, how does he anticipate that a drone would make it better than a helicopter?
I don't know why we anticipating it was drones.
Because they'd be able to get closer to the cars.
Well, it could do, but they wouldn't have to.
Oh, they're talking of helicopter shots.
Well, there's no point then. You should just shut up.
No, it's just you could have more cameras, more airborne cameras, couldn't you, rather than just a helicopter whizzing around?
Yeah.
But talking of the helicopter TV camera, did anyone notice? We looked at it while we were doing the live blog during Australia. Mm-hmm. The TV helicopter had a flight radar tracker on. And you could go onto one of the flight path tracking apps, and you could actually see its progress round Albert Park.
Yeah,
and
that's quite cool.
Follow it around the circuit. It was actually quite good. If we hadn't have already had about 7 screens running in our living room, but I set up an 8th for that.
Yeah, and all the coffee.
And lots of coffee. Although I'm thinking about setting up an 8th screen this weekend so we can have the timing screen in full view of everyone in the middle of the room, so that cuts down on the laptops. I'm turning our living room into a sports bar, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I notice you guys aren't complaining.
Not
at 7 in the morning, but for later races it will be more advantageous.
I like watching the race and typing what when it comes to the live blogs, typing what I see in front of me and maybe anticipating a few things using my instinctive
your powers of anticipation,
my instinctive Formula One knowledge, because it is so vast and wonderful that I can maybe say something before the commentators pick up on something, or occasionally pick up on something before Virtual Statman sees it.
That's rare, to be fair.
That is rare.
I think that happened precisely once last season.
Yeah, but when you can punch the air when you do it, you got to be careful not to punch your laptop on the pistol.
Something just ran through my head. Then inside my head, it cracked me up.
Go on.
What Dan just said. Only he should have said it like using your powers of anticipation.
Yes.
No, anticipation.
It's not the Rocky Horror Show.
I was going to say, I've been dragged to the Rocky Horror Show way too many times to be healthy. But yeah, that is about all the news for this week.
So what's next?
What it says next is Formula Lee.
Or should we do a preview first?
Or should we do a preview? I reckon we should talk about China first, before we get on to virtual China.
It's going to be huge.
Massive.
Well, yes, it's one of the biggest countries in the world.
It's a great country.
It's going to be, we'll start at the back of the grid, it's going to be hell for McLaren. We haven't slated McLaren all this podcast.
Was there some sort of rumour banning about, did it Dan that you spotted it, that someone said that the recovery system is going to run out of battery about 3/4 of the way down the straight in China?
I think that's what I've heard, yeah. Which...
Shortly after that, Alonso's going to run out of patience, isn't he?
Even if I think half energy the whole lap on that straight, it's still going to run out.
Yeah, I think they know that this race is a write-off for them, that the circuit doesn't suit the car.
This is going to be the one, isn't it? Alonso's going to lose his shit at some point in this race.
No, I don't think so, because he's not expecting anything from it.
No, he's not expecting, but when he's getting lapped over and over and over
by Giovinazzi
and over again. Yeah.
Could it be a case that McLaren just don't bother? They go out, they start the race, they think, you know what, we need to save these engines. Pull into the pits, guys. There's no point. We're not competitive. We're half a lap down after the first lap.
I don't think they can do that. I think that it's better for them to fly under the radar in last than it is for them to clearly pull the cars in. Yeah, and it's all testing mileage as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but there's no point in testing something that they know is broken. It's like, it's okay. I can carry on using this pen that's got no ink in it.
It's the F1 equivalent of you watching
self-harm.
Well, I was going to say you watching your last TV after the incident.
The incident.
Where the middle half of the screen disappeared.
Oh, the incident.
Lee threw something at one of his cats to stop it from hitting the TV, and Lee accidentally hit the TV and broke his TV.
Yeah. TV Catgate.
Yeah,
that's the one. But I found the story you were alluding to, Dan. Sources have suggested Alonso and Stoffel could find themselves running out of energy deployment 2/3 of the way down.
2/3
of the way down the back straight, which is round about 3/4 of a mile long. So that energy recovery system has got half a mile in it. This is a moment's silence for that Honda engine, isn't it?
I'm trying to work out where McLaren might be able to gain an advantage. The only thing I can think that they could possibly try would be to go
first to the catering truck.
No, just to go for a really high downforce setup. They know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose that pace on that straight anyway. To go for a really high downforce setup and try and to gain,
because it is twisty in parts.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Well, we'll all know from getting to the coming up to the Formula League soon that it's like a continuous corner from turn 1 right the way through till almost the back end
Tuesday.
of the lane. Yeah. It's just constant turning.
Yeah.
So
if they can gain some time there,
if they just go for full on downforce and if the aero package is good, then maybe we'll see it. But they're still going to be. I think they'll still be last.
Yeah.
As Alonso put it, in the normal circumstances, these cars will be last and second to last.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I don't even know if what I'm going to say is right, but you've got to think if they're using up all their energy that far down the circuit, that car is going to be screaming its bollocks off for a lot longer because it's taken them longer to get down there, which is going to cause more vibrations, which is going to cause more engine wear, which could possibly cause quicker popping.
Which is why I thought it might be a good idea for them to say, you know what, we need to save these engines, just bring them in, lads, don't bother.
I don't think they'll say don't bother, but they might say, we've got something worrying in telemetry.
Yeah, we can see something.
Box.
Yeah, we can see something with your gearbox, Stoffel, box, and Stoffel will come on the radio and feels alright. It's a bit. Sorry.
No,
feel
Stoffel.
Alright. Like he did in the pit lane in Australia.
Yeah, no car going that slow relative to its normal speed should vibrate that much.
It's got to be something to do with the gearbox. Now, I don't know if Honda build the gearboxes as well, or do McLaren build the gearboxes, because power units are not part of the gearboxes.
I think McLaren build the gearbox, but it kind of doesn't transfer power from the engine to the drivetrain.
Yeah. It's cutbacks. They sacked Dave.
They sacked Dave?
What? Yeah.
Dave the gearbox man?
No, Dave the guy that used to balance the wheels.
All mechanics are called Dave and they all own a van.
Yeah. I tell you what, if Dave had a look at the McLaren, he'd go, it's going to cost you that.
Yeah, your reputation.
Yeah. Laser wheel alignment. That's what they need.
I think they
need lasers.
They need sharks with lasers jumping through fire hoops
and with nuclear fire bees around them.
The only thing that might save McLaren is the weather forecast for Shanghai, which at the moment is saying 80% chance of rain. Now, we are only at the time of recording on Monday. You can't give a decent weather forecast until about 48 hours before. But the fact it's saying 80% rain...
Unless you're on the Isle of Man, then it's going to throw it down.
Yeah.
That'll end up with Fernando stood in the pit lane going, I am slow, I am unhappy, and I am wet.
80% rain on Sunday and 70% chance, I think it was, on Monday. So even if the clouds do move around a little bit, or a bit faster or a bit slower, you're still looking at a potential for a wet race after a dry weekend leading up to it.
I think a wet race could be very good for Honda, less good for McLaren.
Yes.
Because it's going to show that chassis isn't all McLaren make it out to be.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they're saying that they have got some chassis upgrades for China.
Already?
Yeah.
That sounds suspect.
Yeah, I don't know if the upgrades would have been ready to go and they weren't suitable for the circuit in Melbourne.
Sounds like they're late, doesn't it?
But to be honest, it just sounds like a massive clusterfuck.
Yeah, hugely. I don't know how, because even in the most basic of road cars, you've got rubber bushes and all sorts of things to stop vibrations from the parts that vibrate. So how a multi-million pound racing team can somehow, we've got vibrations, we weren't expecting those, how do we fix them? Don't know, ask Dave.
Well, the thing was with the vibrations, and again I'm going back to the interview with Mr. Hasegawa. the vibrations were actually happening in an area that isn't meant to vibrate at all and shouldn't be subject to any forms of shock or energy transference that make it vibrate. So they don't even know why it was vibrating itself to pieces. You know, it was like one piece of solid metal that was vibrating in the middle.
Do you think Alonso's that angry? He's actually like just shaking inside the car.
You know those electric devices that you put onto your muscles and it puts the electric charge through and it's meant to tense you up?
Never put them on your balls.
I saw Jackass the movie as well.
No, I had that before Jackass, mate.
Oh, God. Or as I've seen the adverts on TV, Cristiano Ronaldo and his terrifying ab crab.
Also, Cristiano Ronaldo, that terrifying statue.
The one that it looks like he's having a stroke.
Well, no, just I think you got the wrong Ronaldo to start with, didn't they?
They got the one from Off of Pies.
Yeah.
But
back to Formula One.
Alonso doesn't need one of those electromuscular vibration devices because he is shaking that much. The kind of length ruined that joke.
Right, shall we move off McLaren?
Well, they're not moving.
Sauber
you see, that was like fucking pre-show joke. That
I know.
You were doing so well.
I know. I'm spent. My humour's finished for the rest of this podcast. So, Sauber.
Giovinazzi, we know we've already spoken about. He's in the seat. Kind of looking forward to seeing how well he does again.
Well, he'll get a full weekend this time, which
is vital.
Should help a bit.
Yeah.
I just wonder how far up the road he'll be from Ericsson, because he should have been ahead of Ericsson with only one session of setup.
Do we have GP2 in China?
No.
No, the first GP2 race is Bahrain.
All right, so he still hasn't driven.
Formula 2.
He still won't have ever driven this circuit then.
No, I don't think
he
he
ever drove
has.
Melbourne either.
No.
But no, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we did get that Facebook comment from someone saying, when are you going to stop bashing the Scandinavian drivers? And Lee's answer was, when they start doing something for us to stop bashing.
When they prove us wrong.
Yeah. And with Ericsson, yeah, the jury's still out.
No, I closed the case on that motherfucker months ago.
The jury is in the pub. That's how far they've gone out.
All right.
It's not just us that bashes Scandinavian drivers either.
My jury's on its nice holiday in Barbados now.
You'll find a lot of other Formula One social media sites, etc., having a go at K-Mag, Ericsson. Some even having a go at Kimi Raikkonen, which I think is a little bit unfair. But
I think he was lacklustre in Australia.
Yeah, but you know, it's Kimi Raikkonen does what he does, and then he'll have one race where he's amazing. And then
don't forget that. I mean, Kimi actually released a statement about his performance in Australia.
Oh, he said it was all
he said it was understeer on the car. Nobody could work out what it was. And for Kimi, that is unusually
didn't he refer to it as a disaster? Didn't
he
say his weekend was a disaster?
Yeah, and it just wasn't there for him.
Yeah,
and it was there for Vettel.
Oh, there's no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fucking writing Kimi Raikkonen off at this fight now. I'd be stupid to do that.
With a good Ferrari, you'd be mad to write Kimi Raikkonen off until it's mathematically impossible for him to win things.
Yeah,
but when the car's not right, he doesn't win things.
No, he's not close.
That's the problem.
And I think it takes.
It'll take a few races to work out whether it's a pattern or whether it was just a one-off.
But it would take someone like Alonso to make a really crap car.
Yeah.
Sort of. I remember that. I've spoke about it many times in the past. That cartoon when Alonso was with Ferrari of Ferrari stood Alonso stood the other side of the finish line, dragging a black stallion over the line. It was just like, well, yeah, he kind of is doing that.
Yeah.
That Ferrari shouldn't be anywhere near winning world championships or races, but he made it. So
Kimi Raikkonen suffers from a terrible outbreaks of Jensen Button sometimes.
What, he's slowed down because you're hugging him too much?
Yes. But no, better. But it's if the package isn't there for him and he's not comfortable and everything's there.
Yeah,
he's just not on the pace. Possibly worse than Jensen actually for that. I think Jensen could drive around problems a little bit more than Kimi.
Yeah, I think with Kimi, it's black or white. There's nothing in between. It's either everything's going great or bollocks to this. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
I can't get my best out of it, and I'm damned if I'm gonna I can't make a good attempt out of it.
I can't make something out of this.
Yeah, but I mean, Sauber are talking up the chances of potential for points.
I think they should be quiet. Just putting it out there.
That was harsh. That was harsh.
We've got one team at the moment who are behind them. One.
Which is the same number that they had last year, and there's one less team.
Yeah.
Although for the majority of the season, Sauber were the team at the back.
Yeah.
It is interesting, or it's going to be interesting to see who is actually the back marker. Because we still don't know, don't we? We don't know whether it's McLaren or Sauber.
Or any of the other teams that didn't finish in Australia.
Could be, yeah. Renault weren't as strong as I hoped they'd be.
Haas were massively disappointing.
I thought Haas were quite good considering. A Grosjean powered Haas.
They had a rubbish Sunday.
Yeah, that was the thing.
K-Mag didn't need to retire.
Apparently not. They retired him mistakenly.
I would argue that K-Mag did need to retire shortly after his season with McLaren.
But the team called him in and retired the car with a broken suspension. It turned out it was a puncture.
Yeah. So,
oops.
They read their telemetry wrong and thought that his suspension was broken, thought it was an imminent failure, pulled him in to retire him. Nothing actually wrong with the car.
Made a harse of that one.
And
Shut
you
up.
say Paul's shots are bad.
Paul. He said there's only going to be one team behind Sauber. I think 1.5, because we will see half the Williams team struggling at the back, and it will be the young half.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, a difficult opening weekend, as we already spoke about for Lance Stroll. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in China, though. He's had that first weekend experience now, Formula One. He knows what's expected of him. He knows not to put it in the barrier quite as often as he was doing in testing.
I would argue that he knew not to do that.
That's probably one of the things that they do tend to cover in the briefings or on your first date.
Yeah, but he's 18.
Hi lads, the loser over there, don't put your car in the barrier.
Yeah, he's 18. That's kind of like saying, here's your first Ford Fiesta, don't handbrake turn it round the first corner you go round.
It's just all made sense. Pastor Maldonado just made sense to me.
Go on.
Well, you know, in 1996 when Jacques Villeneuve debuted, and he was racing tracks they hadn't been round before, and he was using Formula One to learn the tracks on PlayStation.
The Amiga.
Yeah,
it was actually the Amiga that he learnt them on. It wasn't the PlayStation. Yeah.
I think Pastor Maldonado did that, but instead of buying the Formula One game, he bought Burnout Paradise.
Or Simpsons Hit and Run.
That was a great game.
It was.
Yeah, Grand Theft Springfield.
Now I passed my test and I can just play Hit and Run. It's great.
Lance Stroll says that jealousy is motivating his critics.
I'm not jealous of him.
Oh yeah,
he's an 18-year-old Formula One driver. There is nothing. Yeah, he's an 18-year-old multi-millionaire Formula One driver.
Billionaire.
What's the
well? No, he's not a billionaire. His dad's a billionaire.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
But what's there not to be jealous of?
But that's not why we're criticising him.
We're criticising him because he is
puts
slow.
The car in the
he
wall.
puts the car in the wall. It's like when the first time that Sean came on the show, and he said you get drivers who rage through lower classes, and they get to a point where they just hit their limit, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think Lance Stroll isn't a good enough Formula One driver. You can't take it away from him. European Formula 3 champion.
We've only seen him in one race.
One race in the tests.
Yeah.
And it is a bit too early to draw
It's
conclusions.
a steep learning curve, but I'm reserving my criticism for is Formula One the step that he shouldn't have taken?
Yeah. Well, or
Yeah.
the step maybe he's too early.
Yeah.
That might be the one.
But you can't deny his ability because he won a multi-race series, international series.
Yeah.
Won over 50% of the races last season. So he's not going to be crap.
No. One thing I'm not jealous of Lance Stroll is he does look like the Hulk mid-burst.
He does, doesn't he? He just looks like
Does look like
angry Banner.
Yeah, looks like you just made Eric Banner a little bit angry.
I like that. I do.
Talking of that, the new Samsung phone's coming out, and the voice assistant on that is called Bixby, and I just really want to get hold of one and ask what happens if you make that angry.
Well, yeah,
because Bill Bixby was the original TV Hulk.
But yeah, it's not Bixby though, is it? It's Bigsby.
No, it's Bill Bixby. Bixby.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought the Samsung thing was
No, the
different.
Samsung thing is Bixby as well.
That's fucking ace.
I'm someone that spent the last week asking Alexa to open the pod bay doors.
It's just I spent hours agonising because I'm buying a new phone over getting an iPhone 7 or the new Samsung.
And then you asked Siri and it told you to buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
Odd that.
It's strange.
So yeah, so we got half Williams probably at the back end of the grid.
Yeah.
What other teams we think could be down? I think Haas probably be down that end. I mean, they did have a fairly, as I just said before, fairly impressive weekend in Australia up until Sunday. Sunday was dire.
I think Haas will be further up.
Haas had 2 great days, and I think they can build on that.
Yeah.
I think one Haas will be further up.
And Renault?
Oh,
unknown quantity?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a tough one. Jolyon Palmer was full of praise for his car, and then he got it to a race circuit and full of hate for his car. Can't get the balance right, apparently.
Well, it was after the crash, wasn't it? That was the problem.
Well, yeah, because he stuck the back.
Before the crash, he was struggling.
But he didn't even know why the back end let go.
Yeah.
And then that just carried on into qualifying after they put it back together.
Sounds like it started with a broken car, doesn't it?
Yeah. If that car wasn't, well, the car would have been good, but something intrinsic was going wrong when it let go. That was the weekend over for him, effectively.
Yeah.
Just to point out as well, we were talking about Joe Pro's spin and Danny Rick's spin possibly being down to the shark fins on the backs of the car. I wonder if we'll see any reduced or much lesser shark fins in China.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Do you know what? You shouldn't just be looking at the percentage chance of rain. You should be looking at the projected wind speeds as well.
Yeah, that's
for what we'd see on the backs of the cars between the roll hoop and the rear wing.
Yeah, because I mean we do get windy races as well, or races where crosswinds are a problem.
Bahrain is notoriously windy.
Because it's in the middle of a desert.
It's in the middle of a desert, and because the drivers have complained about too much sand being blown onto the track. So if it's windy there, and of course China and Bahrain are back to back.
Yeah.
I just wonder if a lot of the teams will have brought back ends of cars with fins and back ends of cars without.
I think the benefits.
It's just engine covers, isn't it? I think mainly. That's where the shark fin's situated, pretty much.
Yeah, but you then talk about that affecting all of the air that goes over the rear wing.
Yeah.
It might not be as easy as just whizzing.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
but I don't think you will see the shark fins off unless it's a blanket thing, because the benefit of the control under braking with the shark fins too great.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. If your drivers are more likely to land the car in the wall with the shark fin, then that's not going to help you get points.
But if you're at the point of saying, right, the car is quicker with the fin, just don't fucking crash.
Just drive slower so you don't crash.
We're giving you the quickest car that we can give you.
Well, that's it. I mean, everybody's still learning as well.
Dave's
doing it. That's one race in, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. One race weekend in.
Yeah.
So let's.
Yeah.
You never really get the drivers comfortable with the cars until Spain rolls around anyway.
Yeah. No.
Now, I would imagine that the drivers will be saying, "Give us something where if it starts going, we can get it back.
We can catch it."
Yeah.
Even if it means we're quarter of a second slower.
Apart from Max Verstappen, where he just says, "Give us something, I can get it back, whatever."
Yeah.
But when you think about who crashed, like who crashed where we thought it was the shark fin that helped.
Danny Ricciardo, Jolyon Palmer.
See, I think Danny Ricciardo was just maybe.
It's when the back end went, it just went and it kept going.
Yeah, but I think he was going too far. He went over the edge line there because he was trying to make time.
He overcooked the corner.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the case with all accidents is driver errors down to
but I think that was the point where he was just driving beyond his limits. He wouldn't have got that car round that corner like he was doing it because he was just trying to push too hard.
Well, I mean, Palmer said it was the car that completely let go on him. It wasn't. He was doing the same speed in that corner that he'd done on the previous lap.
Yeah.
Or the previous 3 or 4 laps. And this time the car just decided,
so that's a
I'm
break.
not doing it. And that to me, like you say, that sounds like a broken car.
Yeah. But don't forget as well, Jolyon Palmer with his brake issues had the same issue under heavy braking at the same point in Australia. Was it 3-4 laps in a row before they retired him?
Yeah.
And there's an extremely heavy braking zone in China, at least 2 of them. Where you're really on the brakes, leaning on them quite a lot. So you can't afford a brake failure or anything like that. So of course, maybe look at Haas as well. For they've had problems with their brakes in the past. So you don't want to see Romain Grosjean continuing on at 200 mile an hour at the end of that straight in China. Let's be honest.
No, I mean that's going to be the thing with Haas because the end of the 2 DRS straights, you're in a tight turn straight after them. And this could be a nightmare for Haas, just with the brake problems that they've had. I mean, you're touching well over 210 to 220 miles an hour at the end of the second straight before you hit the braking zone, and you've got to slow down to about 60 for that corner. So
less than that probably, but yeah,
it's well, maybe I've been getting it wrong on Formula Lee.
And given the fact that the cornering speed's quicker, that means your braking can be later too. So you're going to be later and harder on the brakes. You'd have thought.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I think we're going to see for the first time a bit of a different driving style from a lot of drivers, just for the nature of the beast that they're in.
Maybe I don't know.
What about the other half of Williams? Felipe Massa seems to have been coping all right with 2017 regs so far.
Yeah.
Points probably for Massa.
More likely than not, I'd say.
Yeah,
I think if it is wet as well, he could benefit because he's dealt with changing of formulas so often in Formula One. What was his debut? 2001, 2002. So he's driven V10s, he's driven V8s. Now he's driven the V6s as well. Tire changes as well. So when something does start to go, your car starts to slide, Felipe Massa should, you would have thought, have the experience to be able to rectify it quite quickly. Unless, of course, the shark fins come into play and end up turning your cars around the other way. I think he could benefit hugely if there's an awful lot of rain. It sort of levels out the playing field a bit, and the drivers at the front could end up tripping over themselves, and Felipe Massa could find himself not far off a podium.
Well, the rain didn't help him in Brazil.
That was last year, where he
struggled. That wasn't just rain. That was torrential rain.
That was Marks and Spencer rain.
That wasn't just rain. Marks and Spencer's silky smooth, pure 100% H2O rain.
We've got question marks over the wet tyres as well.
Put your glasses on.
I'm trying to look clever.
Ah.
Has it worked?
Yes.
Thank you. We've still got questions over the wet tyres as well, because Sebastian Vettel seemed to think they were fucking awful.
Yeah, after his Maranello test, he said the tyres gave way. So I didn't make a mistake. It was the tyres. Tyres were supposed to last forever. And Pirelli said, well, we don't know if it was the car or the tyres.
Shut up.
Yeah. Shush, Pirelli, do your job. Clear the water off the circuit after 40-something laps.
Yeah, I mean that could be a bit of a complete wild card if it does throw it down.
Could be a complete embarrassment.
For who though?
Formula One.
Well, yeah, okay, fair point. But we're back to the Pirelli can't win.
No, of course they can't. We know this.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, it's wrong.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about they need if the tyres don't clear enough water away, that's a out and out. You've done a bad.
Then they have got it wrong,
Yeah.
because that you're getting into the you had one job territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody say something.
Something.
Stop mugging for the cameras.
So we've got Force India next, is it?
Force India, Toro Rosso.
Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso been fairly impressive in 2017 so far. Not quite as far up as I thought they were. Got double points finish in Australia. So they probably want to replicate that again in China. Again with that twisty section, right the way from turn 1 all the way to pretty much the straight. Could see decent chassis performing better than the engines might have you believe. So if that Toro Rosso does have a decent chassis, and we know it looks extremely similar to the Mercedes, then could see them quite a bit further up the points order rather than 8th and 9th that they scored, I think it was, in Australia.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Toro Rosso to get both cars home in the top 10.
We like racy Danny Kvyat. That was fun. Towards the end of the race, what's the fastest lap? Tell me what the fastest lap is. I want to go for the fastest lap. Good, Danny Kvyat wants the fastest lap of the race.
He's definitely unbroken.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, unbroken. Yeah,
and that could only be
not
good for him.
unbreakable, but unbroken.
Unbroken, probably still fragile.
Yeah.
But for the time being, he's in a quick car.
I'm more interested in where the fuck Carlos Sainz was last weekend.
One place ahead of Danny.
No, I know, but I mean, in what we expect from Carlos Sainz, he was very unspectacular. As Toro Rosso were quite unspectacular.
He's always been unspectacular, but
he's always ended up further up, though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's being unspectacular. So
how many times did we say last season? Quiet race. Carlos Sainz didn't really see him. Had his head down. Finished 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, last race, the role of Carlos Sainz was being played by Felipe Massa because he had a quiet race, got his head down, we didn't see him, and he finished 6th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So totally Sainz'd it. Force India. I still don't know what to make of the Vijay Mallya 10.
The jury is still out on the Force India. Apparently, it's horrifically overweight. Which is why Perez and probably Ocon as well. I had to go on.
Well, we talked about the extreme diets last week. They lost a spinach leaf each.
Yeah. And if it's a weight issue, you've got to, adding the ethos of Colin Chapman here from Lotus, you add lightness to your car. There must be a way of making that car.
Can you add lightness?
Yeah, that's a proper engineering term.
Is it really?
Adding lightness, yeah. Not removing weight, adding lightness.
Yeah, don't take away the heavy, add the light.
I need to add some light to myself.
I need to add some lightness to my waistline. But
I'll start with an arrow.
Maltesers, there's a lighter way to enjoy chocolate. Come on.
It means you can eat more of them. Yeah, we can. Now that we're sort of on video, we can't really get away with claiming that we are perfect specimens, can we?
You can't.
I'm face on at the camera. You're in profile, mate.
I'm fine. I'm happy.
Oh, right, okay.
I am a beautiful creation of the Lord.
Was he on his day off?
Yeah. 5 Monday morning.
But the train of thought has completely vanished out of my head.
Force India's
Adding lightness.
Adding lightness to Force India.
Not all that great this year, maybe.
Well, Ocon, they both scored points, I think. I think Perez was 7th and Ocon 10th in Australia. So they did get both cars into the points. Although I expected a little bit more from Esteban Ocon, to be quite honest with you. Even though it's a circuit that you'd not raced at before. I think it's very similar.
You expected somebody in his first race for a team and his first race at that circuit and his first race in a car that's equally as powerful as the rest of the midfield to do better.
To be closer to Sergio Perez more than anything.
I can see the point Paul's trying to make here.
Were your expectations a little high? I think 10th was great.
It's very good for his first race in Force India. But when Perez puts his car 7th and was outperforming Ocon all weekend, I expected Ocon to be on the same level as Perez, if not quicker.
Perez, I think, is more experienced, and I think he's a better driver than Ocon is at the moment. There's no taking away the potential of Ocon, and obviously Force India saw that by picking him over Verline, when they obviously had the choice of the two drivers.
Yeah.
And he can learn a hell of a lot from Perez.
Yeah.
But for him to get 10th, all right, there was only 13 finishes, but I think he'd have been 10th with.
It was a consistent finish.
It'd have been pecking for the points, even if Danny Ricciardo would have been.
I don't. If Danny Ricciardo had been in, I don't think he'd have been in the points. But
I say it'd have been pecking for the points.
Yeah. He's got, if he stays within a couple of tenths of Perez and then gets on top of him later on through the season, I think that's all you can expect.
I mean, he's learning the car, he's learning the circuit.
Yeah.
It's the first time he's had so much power at his disposal.
But I think most of the teammates were a lot closer together than the Force Indias were.
Yeah, but there was a bit of a gap between Perez and Ocon. Was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, but I see that as being most of the teammates were of similar levels of experience. Don't forget, Ocon is still de facto rookie.
Yeah, it's just that he's in his first.
Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
There was a bigger difference with the two Williams
so
drivers.
Ocon did a lot better than Stroll did even when he was running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like literally running. When he was running, he did better than Lance Stroll in a Formula One car. Running.
Yes. Yeah, we get the joke.
Running.
Do you mean running?
With feet.
Right.
Not wheels.
Was he wearing socks as well?
Yeah, and I don't mean like the slang term for got a new pair of wheels, mate.
Okay.
Right.
Red Bull then.
Thank you. It's probably going to be a better weekend for Danny Rick.
Yeah, a lot of media.
It can't get a lot worse.
No, I mean a lot of media
Well,
outlets.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I was going for the safe prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of media outlets are sort of predicting. I think it's because Red Bull themselves have kind of bigged themselves up a bit, saying that they expect to be make it a three-way fight for the championship. They were a little bit off the pace in Australia, but they expect to have that sorted for China. Again, how?
That will be a hell of a quick turnaround.
Yeah. I mean, Max was fifth behind the top four. I think he was like 20 odd seconds back there, wasn't he? From Raikkonen in fourth. So, unless Red Bull worked out what their problem was before Australia and thought, that's what we need to do. Hang on, wait a second, Dave, can you fix that before Australia? Dave went, no. Right, okay, can you? Well, we'll have it fixed in time for China, though. Yeah, right, okay, right. We know where we're going to be in Australia, but let's look at China.
So, is it Red Bull bringing the fixes for China, or is it Renault, or is it both?
Exactly, I'm not sure. I think it could be a bit of both, but yeah, a lot of people talking up Red Bull's chances of being a lot closer to Ferrari and Mercedes in China.
So I do hope so.
It'd be great if it was a three-way fight and all six cars were fighting for position.
I'm expecting it later in the year, but by China seems
early,
kind of early.
Spain is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any fixes from Renault, they're basically saying the push for improvements is going to start in Bahrain. So that's going to be the same engine setup that they had in Australia. So if there's any improvements, they are going to come from Red Bull, because Renault have actually issued a statement. I was frantically looking at that,
saying we think we're good enough.
Renault plans to bring the first step of an exciting upgrade push to the Bahrain Grand Prix.
See, I'm interested to see where Danny goes, because when you look at Australia, I think Red Bull either put on him or allowed him to do too much media work. He did like an 11-hour day of media, or no, it might be 15 or something.
Yeah, don't forget though, it was the Australian driver at the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah, no, but even when you look at like home drivers, Lewis Hamilton doesn't do 15 hours of fucking media.
Yeah, but Australia's the first Grand Prix of the year.
Yeah,
so that doesn't help him either.
On the other hand of what I said before the season, when we were doing our preview, I wonder whether he's put too much pressure on himself, because he's already talking up how good he thinks Verstappen is, and if Verstappen keeps learning at the rate he is, then in his words, we've all got some problems. So if he might actually believe that this year is his best chance to
So he's putting pressure on
to
himself.
be on top of his teammate. So
he
now
needs to make sure he doesn't get weathered.
Yeah.
And he needs to do that by
Well, that's what I was about to say.
by being clearly better
Yeah.
than the hyped up Verstappen.
Well, it's all up there. It's my time business that he's been coming out with before the season started, and that makes you think. Well, if you believe that this is your time, does that mean tomorrow might not be your time?
Yeah, is it Vettel Weber Mark II, really?
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to luck as well. Danny Rick is the kind of driver who tries to smile through the bad luck, like he had in Australia, but I think he does let it get to him a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And if his opening 2-3 rounds of the season are poor, he will find it very difficult to pick himself back up and sort of get himself going. But don't get me wrong, I'm sure before the end of the season, Red Bull will be in contention to win a race, and Danny Rick will be right there.
Yeah.
But
only issue
what he
is-
can't afford to let happen is have Max Verstappen on top of him all the time.
Yeah.
And if it's a wet race, thinking back to how good
Yeah.
Verstappen was in Brazil,
Yeah.
then good opportunity to Max Verstappen,
Absolutely.
either to win it or
Yeah.
to bin it.
Yeah.
See, the other thing you got to think is, if this year's going to be as tight as we think it's going to be,
Yep.
it's not going to take long. Ferrari have probably already done it, if we're perfectly honest, and Mercedes probably aren't far away from it either, of going, right, you and you're number 2.
Quite
Yeah.
possibly.
And that's if Ricciardo and Verstappen are probably the two most equal teammates out of those 3 teams.
Yeah.
As it stands at the moment,
As it
yeah,
stands
definitely.
at the minute. But if all of a sudden come Spain, Max Verstappen is 30 points ahead in the
Danny
championship.
Rick. Red Bull might be like, excuse me, Danny, do you mind just
30 points can win and lose championships.
Of course, yeah.
Multi 333.
Exactly, as we've spoken about before, but we don't know which way round that is.
Well, I'm guessing the first 1 or 2 threes depends on which car's in front of the other one that they want to go behind. Oh,
Yeah, but what if
God.
they're telling the other driver to swap places? Doesn't make sense.
I think both drivers will assume it means they get the lead.
Fair enough. So Mercedes up next then.
Well, I think, to be honest, we really need to talk about Mercedes and Ferrari together, because they are apparently so close.
Well, Mercedes had a bit of a not a crisis meeting, because it's too early for anything like that, but a bit of a what went wrong sort of meeting.
What went wrong for Mercedes?
Ferrari were fast.
That is what went wrong
Yeah.
for Mercedes. They weren't the fastest car.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were expecting to have that much of a fight on their hands.
No, I don't. I certainly didn't expect, especially the way testing was going, in practice, and
And rumour has it that Lewis Hamilton's tyres had quite a bit of life left in them, according to the Pirelli people, when they actually had a look at them after that pit stop.
See,
that early pit stop where he said, "Oh, these tyres are shot, man."
yeah,
They weren't shot. He might have felt like they perhaps weren't performing as well as they were earlier on in the race, but maybe that's just drivers getting used to how these tyres degrade, and Vettel just had already adapted.
maybe
Who knows?
because he had some pressure on him by a different team, and he didn't think he was going to have any pressure going into the race.
Yeah.
That how we often hear of the graining phase.
Yeah.
But where before a tyre comes back to you, maybe that just freaked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they supposed to degrade this year completely differently to how they did last year?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Last year they were supposed to drop off a cliff, whereas now it's supposed to be a bit smoother.
Yeah.
Alonso finds this year very degrading.
Well, I think it's a
And wants
case.
to take his Honda and drop it off a cliff.
Absolutely. But I think it's just a case of some drivers, Sebastian Vettel, and Valtteri Bottas to a certain extent, have learned how to adapt to the way the new tyres act, perhaps a little bit faster than Lewis Hamilton has. that might have been rectified by the time they get to China. It might take Lewis all season to adapt his driving style, even to cope with the way that these tyres are. But that's the way the tyres are, and at the moment it's playing into the hands of Sebastian Vettel.
Do you think what we've got a little bit is, do you remember how Vettel in the blown exhaust era was so in tune with his car, and he was the best driver out there in that car.
It was Vettel's car, essentially.
It was Vettel's car. That era ended, and he couldn't quite adapt to the changes overnight.
No.
Do you think that's what's happened to Lewis Hamilton?
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah, quite possibly.
It's not that the tyres are going off. It's not that he's whinging. It's that he can't adapt to the car not being his car like it was last year.
See, the only thing I'd say about that is he was massively impressive in testing, and in
FP1 and FP2 as well.
Well, he was bulletproof in qualifying. So the only thing I got from it was he seemed to throw the towel in a bit in the race, and I think he very quickly settled for not winning that Grand Prix.
Yeah, once he came out of the pits, it was like, oh, we're done.
Yeah, he was like 2 seconds behind Vettel, and then you blinked, and he was 8 seconds behind, and it was game over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
it wasn't even when Vettel came out of the pits. It was before that, because Hamilton needed to overtake Verstappen.
Yeah,
and couldn't,
or didn't even try, or it didn't look like he tried. He just said, "No, I can't do that."
Yeah.
I don't think I think he expected another chance to be ahead of Sebastian at some point, or that Sebastian would still be behind him, but it'd be a lot closer. I don't think for 1 second he thought, well, I don't have to pass Max Verstappen because Seb's going to be behind me anyway.
I think he thought the race was over as soon as he came out behind Max. I genuinely think that, because and he's been saying how difficult he thinks it is to overtake in Formula One right now, and we saw how difficult it was to overtake it in Australia. But again, I'm not casting any judge on Formula One as a whole, because it's never been an overtake a minute.
Australia's hard to overtake anyway.
Australia 2016 was 8 passes. Five was it? Sorry, and this year 2. And I think China last year 197 passes.
So
China is the benchmark to look at.
Then. Yeah, I think we'll be seeing a hell of a lot more within the first few laps.
Even on those statistics, if it's the same, you still look at like 30.
Yeah. It's still a downside more than you got in Australia. Yeah. But yeah, you're right with him throwing in the towel, because there was one point just after the pit stop, and he was a good 9 seconds ahead of Bottas.
Yeah.
And then the next time you saw the gap between them, it was 2.9.
Yeah.
And there was didn't see anything about Bottas going faster.
Oh, he went backwards.
So it was just Lewis.
Bottas was going faster because he was catching up not only to Lewis Hamilton, he was also Vettel.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if Valtteri Bottas is one of the drivers who's made the tyres work for him, rather than he's adapted quickly, much like Vettel's adapted quickly.
Yeah,
and could play into Valtteri's hands this weekend. Who knows?
Could we see Bottas's first win for Mercedes?
That would be a real blow to Hamilton if Bottas wins the first race for Mercedes this year. That'd be a real body blow.
We would then see how strong Lewis is come Bahrain.
Yeah,
and you've got to think. Ugh.
But we think that Mercedes have got the single lap pace and Ferrari got the race pace at the moment. We don't know.
See,
that's what we saw in Australia.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. What we saw is Hamilton had the qualifying pace at a track he's very good at, especially in qualifying.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, Hamilton's pole was less about Mercedes and more about Lewis Hamilton, and the gap between Ferrari and Bottas is more comparable to where the cars are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of follow.
Yeah.
But do you think China might suit Mercedes more than
Australia
did?
It might do,
with it being so fast.
Well, the only other thing I was going to say there is the reports that are coming out suggesting that Ferrari's power unit might actually be better than Mercedes this year.
I can hear something scratching at the door.
That sounds like a cat trying to dig its way in or dig up a few extra horsepower for a Mercedes power unit.
That's how Ruben lets me know he wants to get in the room.
Right.
By trying to tunnel his way in.
Yeah.
It's like the Eddie Izzard cats do drilling routine.
Yes, which is fantastic.
It is. Yeah. I advise anyone to find it on YouTube.
That's why tabby cats are tabby, because they're actually covered in oil.
So let's go for predictions.
Yeah, they're all going to be fairly bold predictions, aren't they? Let's be honest.
We've got no choice but to make bold predictions. We've seen one race and
Let's do a top 3 then.
yeah. Who's going to start?
I want to start a new feature as well, if we can. A hero and villain of the weekend. So before and after.
Oh, who you think it's going to be, and then who it turns out to be.
Yes.
Right. We're going to do that now.
We do it
So
now.
do you want hero and villain and the
and the top three.
Top 3.
You're making us think on the fly.
I am.
Jesus.
Do it.
Right.
Do top 3 first.
Top-
Give you a chance
top-
to think about the
Top
hero and
three.
villain
Do we
or
have to get
someone
it in
else.
order, or just 3 drivers that are going to be on the 3 drivers are going to be on the podium?
In order if you can.
Oh
Why not?
God.
You don't have to.
This isn't being recorded or anything, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, nobody will hear this. It's just private for our own benefit.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say Vettel, Bottas, Hamilton.
Vettel, Kimi, Verstappen.
Bottas, Hamilton, Vettel.
Assuming it's dry. Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel.
And if it's wet,
Who knows?
who knows?
Good call.
We're going to do a hero and villain as well?
Hero and villain. You can go first. You picked it.
Yeah, I'm going to go hero of the week because he was almost my driver. I think he might have been the driver of the day for the last. I'll say Antonio Giovinazzi. I think he's got a prime opportunity to put in an awesome performance again. He very nearly beat Marcus Ericsson in Australia. I think he should and probably will beat Marcus Ericsson in China considerably. So yeah, I'll go for him as my potential hero of the weekend, and villain of the weekend. I'll probably go for. It could well be Lewis Hamilton.
Hero of the weekend, I'm going to go for Max Verstappen.
Yep.
Because he's going to outrace his car. And villain of the weekend, I'm going to go for Pascal Wehrlein.
That's almost a shoe-in, isn't it? Already, yeah.
For his evil tyranny by not being there.
Yeah.
Hero, I would probably say Esteban Ocon.
Yep.
I think he'll do well. Villain, K-Mag, for taking up a seat that could be taken by a Formula 1 driver.
We were saying about bashing Scandinavian drivers before.
Let them prove their worth.
Hero, Alonso. He's going to do more with the McLaren than it should do if it doesn't explode on him. Villain, the weather.
Ooh, the weather's going to be the villain.
Nice.
That could be a good one. Yeah, the weather could be the hero. Who knows? But yeah, that's some of my predictions for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, so that's our thoughts. But let us know yours.
Yes, please do. Yeah,
Yep.
send them through.
Send them through and get in touch on Facebook. You can tweet us at 3 Legs 4 Wheels and email for the people that are still living in the noughties. See what I did there?
Yes.
Yeah, 3legs4wheels at gmail.com. We're on Instagram as well. It's not all just cat pictures.
No.
I think I might have put something up there that wasn't.
It probably is just cat pictures.
No, I think I put something up there the other day that wasn't cat related, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't believe that.
What are we moving on to next?
We'll move on to Formula Lee next.
Are we halfway along?
Mid-session update. Yeah, we are halfway into the Chinese Lee Prix. Of course, it's in a Haas in the dry, and time is morning.
Yeah.
I'll say, I'm not giving too much away, but I'll say now you have to get 138.5 for points.
For points.
Other things, Dan, you are currently not last.
Ooh.
I
was just trying to remember what 140 something I'd got at the moment.
139.4.
Ooh.
You've got, so you.
less than a second away from points at the moment.
Yeah, although
We'll give our positions away, but nobody else's.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I've not seen yours, Chris.
I am there somewhere.
But I didn't switch the PlayStation on earlier, so
That's
I didn't
fine.
see
I
yours.
think
I haven't set a time yet.
I think I'm about a 138.8, something like that.
I'm on 138.6, so I am currently I'm currently Esteban.
Right, okay.
I'm currently in 11th. Talking of Gutierrez, he got a point in Formula E. Right, we're done.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, talk about real things.
Let's play a game.
Well, I was just going to say you've still got until Monday the 10th to get your Formula E time in, 6 o'clock UK time. That is when the entries close, and we're hoping that by next week it's all sorted out and Beer Mogul Games have got back in touch and we can give prizes.
Yeah, hope so.
So the winner of Formula E is actually going to have a prize.
Yep, there is going to be a prize. Just have to sorting out a couple of things, but it looks like there could be a game.
We just got to prize the prize off our sponsor.
Not really.
Not really.
But yes.
We're just waiting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're on the point of getting it sorted out, and pretty soon it could be Formula E with Apex Racing Manager.
Yes.
Which sounds good. Chris, I can see, and so can anyone else that's watching this on YouTube.
Hello, I've just hit my microphone, sorry.
Hello. You've got a guitar in your hand.
I do.
I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit just so it's pointing directly at you.
Well, it's not particularly
All right, Drake.
Now, we did have a few suggestions this week for who to do Total Shunt theme tune for. I want to say thanks to Zane for suggesting Jacques Villeneuve.
He said it, baby.
Yeah, but I thought, that's brilliant, I'm going to do Jacques Villeneuve. And I thought, no, I'm not going to, because next week is our 100th podcast.
What, you've got Jacques Villeneuve to come on and sing the actual song?
No, I wish.
No,
sorry. So this makes this our 99th podcast.
99 Luft.
No.
Oh no,
If you listen to other podcasts, I feel bad for you, son. We got 99 episodes all about F1. I got the Cat Patrol on the Pod Patrol. Jensen wants to make sure my jeans got holes. We got Ruben and New Cat. We ain't dumb. 99 podcasts. Who's a total shunt?
Absolutely brilliant. That is fantastic, Chris.
That deserves applause.
Everybody at home.
Shame
I wrote that whilst we were doing the Patreon podcast.
That is fantastic.
Well, I'm impressed.
I think we all suitably are.
Game faces.
Game faces.
Game faces. This is serious business now.
Right, hang on. The three of us need to look at the camera that's pointing at them and put your game face on. Right, that's the game faces done.
Right, okay. Is this Who Wants to Be like Millionaire style music now? Like,
we would dim the lights, but we've only got the one in the room.
Right, you ready?
Go for it, Lee Tarrant.
I raced for 3 teams.
Raced for 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Ferrari, Jaguar, and who did Irvine start with?
Jordan.
That would be Eddie Irvine.
Yeah.
That's a thought. Rules Damon Hill out because he did 4.
Yes.
Because his first race was in a Brabham.
Yes. Might not be Formula 1, remember? It could be somebody connected.
Anything motorsports.
Motorsport related, I think, Lee.
So it could be
Yamaha, Ducati and Honda.
Or Chevrolet, Arden and VW.
Or the Mushroom Kingdom.
You wouldn't do it again. You would not do it again. Yeah, you.
So you've raced for 3 teams. Second clue, please.
I have also entered Le Mans 3 times, finishing only once with the highest finish of 3rd.
What about the lowest finish?
I would probably hazard a guess at the lowest finish not being a finish.
Or also 3rd?
Rules Hulkenberg out.
True.
Raced for 3 teams and finished 3rd in Le Mans. Jan Magnus.
Webber's finished Le Mans once, hasn't he?
Did he enter 3 times though?
I can't remember. I know he's finished on the podium.
The first time he had a pretty spectacular accident.
Oh, when he flipped.
Yeah.
I've just done this great flipping action, realising that I'm set to the wrong camera. I'm doing it now. There.
Very good.
Webber raced for Minardi,
Jaguar,
Williams.
Williams as well. Yeah,
Red
Jaguar
Bull.
and Red Bull.
Yeah.
So not him.
Jan Magnussen. He did.
Jan Magnussen, McLaren, Stewart.
Tyrrell.
Did he drive at
Leo
Tyrrell?
Tyrrell. Don't know.
He might have done.
Was he? I think he was Tyrrell before he went to Stewart. Possibly. And I think he did quite well in Le Mans when he actually raced.
Yeah. Still got another clue before we have to...
We have.
Yeah.
First guess, of course, after this clue. Go on, Lee.
I entered the Indy 500 4 times with a best finish of 9th.
Did Graham Hill win the Indy 500?
Won it. Best finish of 9th in the Indy. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're going for at the moment. Best finish of 9th. Raced for 3 teams. Remember, they might not be Formula 1 teams.
That is true. But with IndyCar teams, they change the name every week, so you could drive you could drive the same car for an entire season and be in 16 different teams. The Penske, Stewart, Haas, Ford, Chevrolet, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Honda.
So let's think about Formula 1. I think we're probably thinking of a Formula 1 driver who's done the Indy 500 and finished 9th.
The thing is, though, the Indy 500 used to be a race in the World Championship.
It did used to be, way back in the 60s.
I'll remind you that I want an answer.
Yes.
Yeah. Could be looking at someone like Phil Hill.
Phil Hill, 1961 world champion, drove for Maserati, I think, Ferrari, and somebody. Yeah, it could be Phil Hill, you know.
And with him being American, would be a shoe-in for Indy, especially if it was in the World Championship era.
I'm thinking of somebody perhaps a little bit more modern, but yeah. If you want to throw, I don't have anything better to throw in there at the moment.
No.
Go with that, Paul.
Go with that one because I'm still technically on 0. That should be 1. Are you Phil Hill?
I'm not Phil Hill.
Damn.
Also, my questions have just gone blurry.
Put your glasses on, sir.
My first win was in 1959.
There you go. So we are looking at somebody.
So at least I was close to the right era.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So we're probably looking at the Indy 500 whilst it was still a championship race.
Yes.
Somebody whose first win was in 1959 and raced for 3 teams. We're looking like somebody like Jack Brabham, perhaps.
Yeah. That's round about the right era.
Jack Brabham would have obviously competed in the Indy 500 if it was part of the Formula 1 World Championship at the time. I don't think it was part of the Formula 1 Championship for very long, though. I'm not entirely sure of the years that it was part of the championship for. So at least we know what era we're looking at now.
Yeah.
Go on, Lee, next clue.
My first Grand Prix was the British Grand Prix.
That doesn't narrow it down a great deal.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. We need another clue straight away, I think.
I am a world champion.
So we're looking probably at Jack Brabham.
I think that. Yep. And this is one we've got to give a guess on. I think.
Hang on. So we've got a world champion who won a race in 1959.
No, didn't win a race. His first race was 1959.
First race was 1959.
Sorry, I was just putting the camera back straight.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just. Was it still concentrating on my face from the?
No, it was just Dan was a little bit out of frame.
Oh, so
I kind of sobered him.
A world champion.
I think you're onto something with Jack Brabham.
Let's go with we've got to make a guess, and this is when the clues start getting a little bit more
Easy.
focused. Should we say? Not easy. They're never easy.
Gettable. It's only
Gettable.
only easy if you know the answer.
Yeah, we'll go with Jack Brabham. Are you Jack Brabham?
I'm Jack Brabham.
Oh,
Good work.
Well done, Chris. Oh, hang on, Lee's just knocked the camera.
Oh God, Lord.
That's all right. We're back in the room.
I didn't
Back in
kick
the room.
the camera. It was earthquake.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. I create
There's
my own
there's the
team.
aftershock.
Yeah.
I'm Australian. My F1 career started in Cooper. My last race was in 1970.
1970. Wow.
Yeah. Now I'd like to thank. As soon as I can get out of this.
Not
Somebody.
He'd like to thank not Specsavers because you can't see the screen.
Yeah. I'd like to thank Zach, and that's at Henderson Zach 18, because he did everything for that. That was all his questions.
Oh, really?
Ah,
He
good work,
suggested
Zach.
Jack Brabham.
And extra applause to Zach as well because he's a pay driver patron.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
He
excellent.
is.
Oh, good man.
Thank you, Zach. That was awesome.
So
I
yeah,
enjoyed
I mean,
that one.
I've had I'm having a few I've had a few
Guess total shunts.
guest total shunts, including someone that went and tweeted it public to me. Nice move.
No, don't do that.
So yeah, no, but it's like I've got some, but keep sending them in because I'm not just going to go through them as a list. I'm going to go through see who sends what, see what's interesting, see what I think is going to be difficult for you.
Well, I'm really sorry about that embarrassing celebration everybody had to witness when I realised that I got it right.
Yeah, you're on camera now.
Yeah. Don't forget these two little square things, one either corner of the table,
Yeah.
and this laptop that's showing me. Right, I'm gonna have to get inventive here because I am monitoring the video feed to make sure that's working, and I've kind of
Pornhub on the other laptop.
got this mailbag thing going on as well.
Mailbag.
So, mailbag time. And the first one I've got here is on email from Finn from Perth.
Hello,
Hi,
Finn.
Finn.
Hi, Finn.
Guessing the Australian one, not the Scottish one.
Hmm?
There's a Perth in Scotland as well as one in Australia.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, it's a place in Australia, so it must have been named after somewhere in the
just
UK.
took for granted it was Australia.
No, I'm guessing it's the Australian one.
Does Scotland have the internet?
I think so.
Right.
David Coulthard's got Twitter.
Yeah, but he doesn't live in Scotland.
No.
I sent a tweet from the David Coulthard Museum, and that was about 5 years ago, so yeah, they must have it.
Right, okay, cool.
I had to tie it to a pigeon and send it over the border. Anyway, Finn says, just asking if you think that Red Bull will need a B-spec car to win a race this season. And if they don't win a race, will the team setup be shuffled?
How does he mean by? It depends what he means by B spec.
Well, we've had teams bring a completely redesigned chassis in midpoint during the season. It's not happened for a few years, but you know where the car gets designated something B.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the only thing that we can take for granted, less than testing, is the first Grand Prix. You know.
Yeah, I think what most people think Red Bull are doing is coming along with a really simple design and they will bring updates to it. So
Yeah.
the fact that they're not right up at the front at the moment is almost expected. It's
I would also like to say as well, just to say to all of our American listeners who might take part in ESPN website and television.
section.
No, they have ESPN run a thing called the Pit Stop, and I saw a clip saying the Pit Stop. Is it time for Newey to go? What, just because Red Bull finished 5th in their first race? No, it's not time for Newey
it's
to
not.
go. Ignore that. That's rubbish.
Yeah, but that's the way the American sports media works because.
Saying that, I did say last week, what if he has run out of ideas? And that is still a very, very real possibility, but I'm not willing to put any money on it yet.
No.
But I mean, the American sports media, they are worse on managers and coaches than the British are on Premier League managers.
Or just British sports people.
Or just British sports people in general. They've won, but we don't like the fact that they didn't do the British thing and lose.
Yeah.
But with America, it's like, one game and it's time to sack everyone, get rid of the whole organisation from the coach down to the tea lady.
Yeah.
Fire crazy.
Yeah.
Is it time for Newey to go? No, let's see what this car does. Will they?
He can't go anywhere anyway. Isn't he contracted to like 860 million years?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also gets £860 million per year of his £860 million year contract.
You don't notice he smiles now.
It's because he can now afford someone to carry his money around for him.
He can afford all the sweaters he wants.
Sensible cardigans. Gold pencils. I think it's too soon to think about a B-spec car, but because teams only usually look at completely redesigning the chassis when they've worked out what they started the season with as a complete dog. Yeah. I think the days of B-spec cars are over because teams will just bolt new upgrades on.
I mean, the last time we had a B-spec car was when Force India brought one in, and that was literally because they didn't finish their car in time for the start of the season.
Yeah, because the car that they started the season with in 2015 was the 2014 car with a few modifications. Yeah. And then mid-season, it's what would it have been, the VJM 08B.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the cars are only ever an evolution of themselves anyway, because let's face it, if you can't build the car over the course of a Grand Prix season and then an off season, then you can't exactly redesign the car between the first test and halfway through the season.
Though you can learn what fundamental flaws there are. In that time.
But at that point, I think it's you've sacked that year off and you're looking to next year.
Probably nowadays,
So, but that and Red Bull are gonna be just fine. They're gonna win a race, and they could possibly be in the fight for the championship.
Everybody keeps saying 3-way championship fight is still very possible. We'll see.
They weren't all that close to Mercedes at the start of last year.
No,
and they got closer
this year
as the season went on.
Yeah.
Don't look for them at the first race, but look for them at the. Oh,
no, that doesn't
go well, does it?
No.
He also says, as someone who only knows the post-2010 Schumacher, what would I need to do to appreciate him? Don't look at the 94 or 97 versions.
Yeah, 2017 one's pretty shocking.
No.
Post-2010 Schumacher, is it Daily Motion where there are lots of old Formula 1 races?
Daily Motion's what he's really struggling with at the minute.
Yes,
Lee.
But there are lots of old Formula 1 races on there. Choose any race from the 2002 season.
Yeah,
I think that was his complete season of complete podiums. 17 races, 17 podiums. He's I mean, you just look at his statistics. I mean, I think it's something
what was his race where he proved himself as the Rainmeister?
Was
Barcelona in
96? Was first year at Ferrari, but I mean before that even he qualified 16th for the 94 Belgian Grand Prix and won it.
All joking aside, I think the Benetton era is that is really impressive Schumacher.
Except for Australia 94.
Yeah.
95 Schumacher, absolutely. And then when he made his move to Ferrari in 96. You got to remember he might have dominated 5 world championships with Ferrari and could have won more, but
they were like McLaren are now.
Oh almost. They were awful. And I remember when Schumacher first made that move, and my stepdad got a Formula 1 magazine and reading about Schumacher, and we sat there and we laughed, going, "What an idiot! He's gone to Ferrari, so we can say that he's driven for Ferrari," and then he turned that round on everyone. Ferrari became the most successful. Essentially, Ferrari bought Benetton. But anyway,
see, this is I do have an issue with the legacy of Schumacher because in the time that his dominating era at Ferrari, you had don't get me wrong, a team that put all the right people together. Yeah. So they built a great car, fine. But on top of that, you had a team that was probably cheating, and that had a tyre manufacturer that was building tyres just for their car. And if you don't tell me that isn't... sorry. I realised there was 2 other teams that ran Bridgestone tyres.
Yeah.
But they weren't running Bridgestone tyres. They were running Bridgestone's Ferrari tyre. And I think that's a massive difference between having a car. So when Schumacher was dominating races, I think Ferrari would have dominated those races no matter which driver they installed in it. And it wasn't the brilliance of Schumacher, it was just the fact that he was the number 1 driver in that car at that time.
There were times when he was brilliant, though.
There was.
The brilliance of Schumacher was part of it. The brilliance of Ross Brawn, the strategy calls was part of it. The willingness to bend the rules way past what should be breaking point was part of it.
Pushing the envelope, I think it was what it was called. But
if you want to see an example of this, British Grand Prix, which year was it? Where
with the plank underneath the car?
No, with the stop-go penalty.
Oh, with the overtake on the formation lap, and then argued about the penalty, and then served the stop-go penalty because their pit was after the finish line.
Yeah.
2000, I think. I might have got that wrong. No, not 2000.
No, I think that was 94.
Was it 94?
Yeah, because he ended up with a ban for it, and that's when Hill closed the gap.
Was 94 not when he got black flagged for running the illegal plank on his car?
That was a different race that season.
Okay.
I think, but
I thought the stop-go penalty one was in the Ferrari era.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was too.
This is the thing, you see. We're talking about the Dream Team, which
wasn't
was
it Silverstone?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was Ferrari.
We're talking about the Dream Team of Schumacher, Brawn, and Byrne.
Yeah.
About all the times that they bent the rules. And we're kind of losing track of, or explored the boundaries of the rules.
Top and bottom of it is, if he had a couple less wins, if his if he had a couple of teammates that weren't fucking destroyed by being his teammate, and one less championship, and the attempt to win another championship the same way as you should have the one less championship, we'd be remembering Michael Schumacher without grey areas as one of the greatest sportsmen of any sport. But just because he did really well at certain other races, you can never and just because he's in a bad state now, you can't look past shunting someone off the track to win a world championship. You can't look past, even after that, and even after he was demonised for that, looking to try and do it again against Jacques Villeneuve. And to me, he's
3 years later to a car in the same team.
He was good at a sport. He's not a sportsman.
Yeah, I just googled the '94 British Grand Prix. That's when he overtook Hill on the formation lap and was given a 5-second stop-go penalty. Did not serve it within 7 laps and was then black flagged twice.
Yeah,
and that's why he got the race ban, because he ignored 2 black flags. He's supposed to come straight into the pits and that's it, retire with a black flag, because he was disqualified from the race for ignoring penalties.
But he's done legendary things, and there are a lot of videos out there you can actually see the quality of him.
I know. I must say as well, when he's saying this, I'm not anti-Schumacher by any stretch of the imagination either. I just don't think although the statistics say something different, I don't think he's the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time. Yeah.
And the winning in the pits was the 98.
98.
Hakkinen was better than Schumacher.
Mika Hakkinen still to this day, and I've said it many times on the podcast before, probably outright my favourite Formula 1 driver.
Yeah.
I was never a fan
of Mika Hakkinen.
Of Hakkinen, yeah.
I'm sorry, that the lapping and passing manoeuvre at the end of the Kemmel Straight in Belgium in 2000, when he lapped Zonta and passed Schumacher in the same move. That was a work of genius, and that
tremendous.
is one of my favourite Formula One memories of all time.
See, that's another thing I think when you talk about Schumacher, I can't pull off the top of my head anything like that.
Team.
Yeah,
no, exactly. That's the thing. Like, Mika Hakkinen had Ayrton Senna come up to him as a teammate and said, "I don't understand how you're quicker than me through that second sector. How are you quicker than me?" And Mika Hakkinen shrugged his shoulders and just said, "No, don't know, just down." So he confused Ayrton Senna and he scared the hell out of Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
Schumacher was once asked, "Who's the only driver that ever scared you?" He said, "Only one, Mika Hakkinen. That's it. The only driver who ever scared me was Mika Hakkinen." Although I'm pretty sure Alonso probably scared him when he went round.
Alonso scared him into retiring.
Into 130R that time in Japan.
No, he did. Alonso scared him into retiring. If Alonso hadn't come along and beat him 2 years in a row, he wouldn't have retired when he did. That's why he felt the need to come back to Mercedes, because he knew he had unfinished business in Formula One.
Possibly. So I mean, there's lots to talk about and to think about Michael Schumacher. There will be documentaries out there as well. There just will be somewhere. I haven't seen any. But
It's a shame though, because I think when you consider what like his accident and stuff, and like I say, all joking aside, it's like the sport has been robbed of a person who had every right to have his say about the sport until his very last day. For his achievements. He had every right to be Stirling Moss or to be Jackie Stewart on the grid, walking around at 70 years old.
Yeah, going, that's not right. I don't see why these cars have got that on there. Yeah.
And there was probably a Niki Lauda position in him at some point as well.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, so, chairman, non-executive chairman.
Whatever the fuck that is.
It's comes out and disagrees with what the actual boss of the team says.
It seems to be Lord and Master of whatever the fuck you want it to be.
It's the man who sits in a non-executive chair. But I don't know what an executive chair is.
It's one with lots of leather.
Oh, right. Is that the leather one with the armrests?
If that's the case, I'm pretty sure these chairs are non-executive chairs.
I think we're all non-executive chairs.
Flood might have the executive chair. Yours has cushioning.
It's got a cushion,
but it's not leather.
Nah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're looking.
I thought you were going to sneeze.
No, I was thinking.
I thought you were going to read another email.
I was thinking it's probably my turn to say something, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Because I've got the next one in front of me.
What's next in the mailbag, Paul?
Lee's favourite pile of words: Niall Slim Drew.
Hello, Niall.
That's such a good put down, isn't it? You fucking pile of words.
That's what you called him the other week.
Well, I stand by it. That's not a name.
You stand by it because your chair's not leather.
It's not a name, it's a sentence.
What do you think the chances of Mercedes investing in McLaren as a B team like Toro Rosso to Red Bull? I'm surprised it's not really been brought up. I've got to admit that's not a thought that crossed my mind. I don't know about any of you guys.
Possible without Ron.
Slim to none.
Yeah, because they're an independent team.
Yeah, I mean, possible without Ron, but unlikely given the fact that they still run the ethos of they want to be world champions.
Yeah, I would think they're more likely to be bought by Honda and become the Honda factory team than they are to become someone's B team.
Yeah, but that would be the only way of them stopping slagging Honda off.
I don't think that'll happen. I think, like I said last week, with Williams still being in that position where they haven't quite got the budget to keep up, and with Formula One closing up as it is doing at the top, a McLaren car with a Mercedes engine in it could be very beneficial to Mercedes.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, McLaren have always repeated Ron's mantra of we want.
I'm right, sod the rest.
No.
The other mantra.
They're nobody's B team.
Yeah, we want to be world champions, and we can't do that as a customer team.
They have repeated that until this year when they said we could be winning races with a Mercedes engine.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Boullier made that statement, that is the least Ron thing that has been said coming out of a McLaren.
It's the least Eric thing
member
that's
of
come
staff.
out of Eric.
Well, yeah, it was definitive.
Yeah, it was an answer.
Yeah, but yeah, it was the least Ron thing to come out of McLaren since before Ron took the team over. I can't see them as a B team, but I can see them as a customer team within the next couple of years. They're not.
There was that great April Fool's joke as well that Fiat Chrysler Group had. I think it might have been Ben Redding that sent it through. I'm not quite sure. Who said that the Fiat Chrysler Group had agreed a deal to acquire McLaren Formula One team. I was like, no. I was like, we'll keep an eye on that, but it's probably an April Fool's joke. I had a quick search and there was nothing more about it to be found anywhere else.
Talking of April Fool's jokes, just want to thank Salvador for sending the link through to the McLaren April Fool with the Cadbury's sponsorship.
Yeah.
Where they removed all the orange and put Cadbury's purple on there.
Salvador, was it all melty?
Oh.
But the best April Fool joke has to go to Silverstone.
That was an absolute classic. I mean, a lot of work went into that video that
And
they
a
did.
lot of people believed it.
Yeah. I mean, getting...
only because they didn't listen to the thing about left-handed tarmac.
Yeah.
What was it? Jason Plato, Jolyon Palmer, David Coulthard and Rob Smedley.
Yeah.
Silverstone and the BRDC got together and released a video narrated by Jason Plato with soundbites from Joe Poe, Coulthard and Rob Smedley about how they've decided to shake things up for this year's British Grand Prix by driving anti-clockwise. So they're reversing the circuit completely.
Oh, right.
But they were relaying certain parts of the circuit with tarmac that was specifically designed for left-hand turning. In other words, left-handed tarmac.
And they're retraining the marshals to wave the flags in the opposite direction.
That's amazing. See, the only issue I've got there is the idea of somebody asking Jolyon Palmer to do a voiceover for his input.
No,
on
he
something.
was on camera testing this clockwise circuit.
Oh yeah,
anti-clockwise
that's
circuit.
grand. But still, the fact of somebody getting Jolyon Palmer's input for something, that's a bridge too far. I can take the left-handed tarmac.
Yeah.
Isn't Jolyon Palmer on the board of the BRDC as driver's representative
Already?
this year? Yeah.
Is he?
Well, who else is there?
Good point. Lewis Hamilton's not going to do it.
Lewis isn't going to do it, and Jensen's on sabbatical.
Yeah.
Hasn't retired.
At least till Spain.
Well, it doesn't have to be a Formula One driver, does it?
No, but they always want a Formula One driver on the current British Formula One driver on the board wherever possible.
Right.
From what I've seen before, because I think one year Mark Blundell did it and he said he got bored.
Fair enough. Bored off the board.
Yeah. As we're running a bit long, I'm going to have to cut the mailbag short with just those two or three tonight because...
we have run on a bit
time.
long.
We have run long and it is already midnight because we've been busy setting videos up and things like that.
Yeah.
Just a quick thank you to everyone that's donated via Patreon again this last month. We've had quite a few new donations.
Yep.
Really appreciate it. Keeps us going, and we'll try to do as many extra things as possible.
Well, that's it. I mean, essentially, it's paying for our hosting to make sure we can keep on doing this.
Yeah. And we've now got the video streaming set up and sorted out. That's given me a couple of sleepless nights over the last 2 days, but we think we've got it working.
Yes, we think.
And the first publicly available show on the night will be our 100th show next week. Mm-hmm. Just ahead of the 100th show, I just want to thank everyone that's been listening to us over the last 2 years.
So does that mean that with that camera,
That
right
camera
there,
that you're pointing at there,
and that camera that's right there,
that camera that I'm pointing at there,
that people will be able to log on to the YouTubes.
Onto the YouTubes. Unless you're Jean Todt, then you've got to get your assistant to print off the YouTubes.
So how can they find us on the YouTube?
Until we get 100 subscribers, we've got one of those really bloody ridiculous YouTube URLs. So what I will do is I will put that on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Put a link to it there. And I'll put it on the Twitter biog as a link if I can.
Am I right in thinking people can join in and chat on live videos?
And we will have the chat window open so you can chat to us during the show.
Our Facebook followers are really good, so they'll sort that silly 100 subs out within an afternoon.
You would hope so. I mean, we're already up to...
Go do it now. Just go and have a look now. Do it.
Yeah, we've got quite a few subscribers already. We've got one video up there, which is kind of just a promotional video with some stills and our theme tune.
Well, there you go.
So we've got the YouTube channel sorted. Get in touch on Facebook. Just look for 3 Legs 4 Wheels. We're on there. We're on Twitter at 3 Legs 4 Wheels.
I'm at a total shunt.
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
and at Pablo100. If you want to hear the extra Patreon podcast that we do every week, you can pledge as little as $1 a month. The rewards are being posted this week. We have... where are the badges gone?
They're over there.
Ah,
Dan's wearing one. Model it,
Dan's
Dan.
wearing a badge. Quickly model that, which is behind your microphone. Hang on, let me
That's
just
fine.
tilt that.
Doesn't matter. It's okay.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't just turn around and look at the camera that's right fucking next to you.
Not no, he's not in the right angle for that. We've got the badges. The t-shirts are printed. We've just got to put the Pay Driver logos on. We'll be having t-shirts for sale soon.
Yep, t-shirts for sale. And we're looking forward to interacting with you on our 100th podcast next week.
Can you believe that we've actually managed to keep this going for 100 shows?
Which we'll be reviewing the Chinese Grand Prix, which will also be live blogging.
We will be live blogging. If you go to 3legs4wheels.com on Saturday for the qualifying, I'm going to get up and do that again. Even though I'm at a beer festival Friday night, that's going to be fun. And on Saturday we'll be running the live blog, and you can chat to us on Facebook, Twitter, and on the comments on the live blog for that.
Yep.
All at the website.
And please do as well, because I mean we've had so many people, especially people who tune into American coverage, saying that all the commercials ruin, what's going on during the race. Yeah. Don't have to miss a thing if you're with us.
Yeah, I'll be popping around on Twitter, so if you want to get on and give me some abuse, then go for it.
Yeah, and for anyone that's in Formula League, you've got another week to get, as of time of recording.
Including me, I need to get on it.
No, don't. I'm beating you at the minute. I've not done that yet.
Yeah, that's because he hasn't put a lap in yet.
I know, and if I'm just going to disappear through to the other room, go near his PlayStation with a screwdriver or something.
I'll do it on PC.
Damn. Have you tried turning it off and not back on again?
My mission now is to go faster than you on my very first go.
Have I told you lately that I hate you?
Not in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, that's all right then. We're going. We will see you next week.
Yeah, go patronise us.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And 3legs4wheels@gmail.com as well.
Do that.
So we'll start
thanks
waving.
for watching.
Bye.
Oh, it's like we're we're children's TV presenters.
Yeah, it's like we're Teletubbies or something.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to get arrested. See you later.